The seasons come and go like thoughts of you. Like a wave returns to the sea, into the blue. They change but in a cycle that I can't lose. Each painful but delightful to live through. You came into my life just like another season. Not for long, just a time, just like another season. Maybe this time next year you'll reappear for no reason, but I'll cherish every day until you come my way this season. The seasons turn and change just like your mind. Like the sun gives into the moon, into the night. Time continues marching, it slowly crawls. With each new one starting, I recall. You came into my life just like another season. Not for long, just a time, just like another season. Maybe this time next year you'll reappear for no reason, but I'll cherish every day until you come my way this season. Each time of year carries memories, like a never fading whisper in the breeze. Oh, we will keep on changing all over again. Yeah, we will keep on changing, just like another season. Don't want another day without you by my side. Oh, this season. You came into my life just like another season. Not for long, just a time, just like another season. Just like another season.
Is it okay if I'm to say I'm catching feelings from all the dealings? Am I astray? What do you say? How are you feeling? Is it the same? I hope you're not planning to waste my time. To my surprise, that was her reply. Now we vibe. It's been a while and such a ride, the stars align. I love the fact I didn't let her go. She loves the fact that I just let her know. Now we're together, it's a different mode. We getting crazy in a different role. I love the fact I didn't let her go. She loves the fact that I just let her know. Now we're together, it's a different mode. We getting crazy in a different role. crazy in a different role. She loves the fact that I just let her know. We getting crazy in a different role. We getting crazy in a different role. She my do or die, my bona fide. My up when I'm down, she's always beside me. She makes me feel alive, I won't deny. Her love for me is real and kinda suicide-y. She's not the same, she's such a rare type. She's far from plain, at least in my eyes. She said if I cross her, I'll be in the grave or under attack, but yeah, that's still my babe. I love the fact I didn't let her go. She loves the fact that I just let her know. Now we're together, it's a different mode. We getting crazy in a different role. I love the fact I didn't let her go. She loves the fact that I just let her know. Now we're together, it's a different mode. We getting crazy in a different role. We getting crazy in a different role. She loves the fact that I just let her know. We getting crazy in a different role. We getting crazy in a different role. Getting crazy in a different role. We getting crazy in a different role.
I'm cutting dice, look at these eyes. They're not here to please you. There was a time you could be mine. Before all that you put me through, I knew that you were trouble, but I let that you bad. I'm living in this bubble and it makes you so mad. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can watch me go, cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can watch me go, cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can watch me go, cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can say hello, but I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like. You can watch me go, cause I don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me. Don't need you to like me.
When you dream, do you see beautiful rays of light shimmering, guiding you through the night? I know it feels like the night's getting longer and light is harder to find. I promise I'll always be there, I'll remind you when you close your eyes. If they sent for me tomorrow, even if I leave right now, you'll find comfort there in knowing whenever in doubt, you can find me when the lights turn out. When the lights turn out. Of miles away, I can see you and me like it was yesterday. I know it's not the same, but I'm still behind you every step of the way. Look in yourself and I'll be there, I can guide you. All the love is the same. If they sent for me tomorrow, even if I leave right now, you'll find comfort there in knowing whenever in doubt, you can find me when the lights turn out. When the lights turn out, you can find me when the lights turn out. When the lights turn out, you can find me when the lights turn out.
I need a second to take a breath, to keep me guessing with what you said. You're in my head. We're under pressure, we're sinking deep like stormy weather. Can't seem to breathe when you're with me. If you're gonna break me, I know I won't stay. I don't wanna wait here, you push me away. If you're gonna choose, you don't know what to do. I don't wanna lose you, but don't wanna lose me too. So complicated, don't mess it up. Feeling frustrated, it ain't enough to fix a love. If you're gonna break me, I know I won't stay. I don't wanna wait here, you push me away. If you're gonna choose, you don't know what to do. I don't wanna lose you, but don't wanna lose me too. the clutch, pedal to the floor, turn that giddy button to a lion's roar. Dream machine, racing queen, I'll take you wherever you wanna go. Let's blow this town, break the speed of sound. Tonight we own the road. Dream machine, racing queen, you make my heart beat. You make my heart beat. Dream machine.
Hello. Welcome all. It's Wednesday afternoon, and so you know what that means. Tonight, it's gonna be some more League of Legends over here on NECC. I'm joined by the one and only, I don't know who the hell this imposter is, this beardless Rector. Who is this man? Get him out of here.
Listen, it's still me, just a little bit of changes. About once a year, I have my Britney moment where I'm like, you gotta change it up. We get rid of the
They
beard.
nerfed Rector, man. They nerfed him.
I'm telling you, I'm not sure that most people recognize me. But yeah, still here, still ready to do some League of Legends. Got back from finals, blew my mind. Maybe that's why I lost the beard. It was a religious experience, but still excited to cast some League of Legends.
Definitely. So yeah, Rec Dominance getting a little too strong. They decided that quick patch coming out, they nerfed him. Hopefully we'll have to wait for the buffs to come through. But regardless, we're getting ready to get on to the Rift. Tonight is, I mean, we always say that it's a banger, right? But this time around, it's more of a, this is more fit for like October because it's a bit of a spooky banger this time around. We've got, as you can see right here on the screen, MACU Evangels. I'm terrible with names. I hope I said it right. I know you told me I was. Going up against USM, and particularly when I'm looking at these two teams, Rector, right? On USM side, you kind of have like the Spec Ops team that almost feels like their record 3-1, and that's because 2 of their matches have not been reported, so we don't know how they're doing, and they're going up against a team that is 6-0, top of the league right now.
Yeah, once again, it feels like last week we had another game like this where you look at the standings and it is the Evangels that have only dropped 1 map total. Everything's just 2 O's across the board, so only losing once. I'm going to presume that was probably on the red side there, as opposed to, our boys USM down there in the 4th position right now, but also in matches reported hasn't dropped a map. So this becomes really, the undefeated versus kind of undefeated sort of way. I do believe their one loss was last week versus Kansas State. We've been seeing the sort of damage Kansas is putting out here in NECC in the Navigator South Division. And that's not a sad loss to take, honestly.
Yeah, definitely not. It's a pretty big team, right? It's like, it is what it is, and they put up a good fight regardless. But if that wasn't hard, or it really was hard, it's going to be even harder tonight, right? MACU, you can see, right, 6-0, like we talked about, undefeated, giving over a single, like that needs to be stated. A single map was given over. That means just absolute dominance coming through from this team over and over. 2s and O's back to back to back to back to back. And the only team that they even dropped a single round to was Emporia State.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting, right? These the wins and losses up here at this high up in that top 4, just dropping that singular map can change things. And also is important that we talk about when they only drop 1 map, 2-0, especially there. That means they're winning on blue side, getting the side select, and going over to red side, or vice versa. So if you have a team that's finding victories on both sides, when we're saying this is a pretty blue side favored meta, that's impressive, especially at this level.
Yeah, it definitely shows that. I mean, it's one of those, like, listen, what are you going to do, man? I can do everything. I can play on either side. I can play whatever champ. That's that supremacy that comes through, really gets those nerves going a little bit, because you're like, what the hell can you do? We talk about how you mentioned, I feel every single cast, right? That blue side supremacy coming through. It's just so huge that you can get that initial first power pick. You go up against a team that says, screw that. We don't need that. We're just going to outhand you on the Rift. Pick whatever you want.
Yeah, well, it's almost that, and like to harken back to World Finals, a question that was brought up on the Rift multiple times as we get into these lineups with Evangelicals first. We have D Davidson up in the top lane, MACU DO7 in the jungle, Especials in the mid lane, and then finally Yohon and Ponyboy making up that bot lane duo.
Go to names once again on the board. You know we're always looking for them. And over on the other side here for USM, I'm Connor. That's awesome too. I can't wait to get that. Lil Wheatbread, yes. We were hoping that he'd be in the jungle tonight, and he will be indeed. Is it MHM Bang or Bang? I like Bang more. It would make more sense if it's MHM Bang. We'll have to wait and see. QM49 in the bot lane, and of course Haddle in the support roam is going to be looking to carry on through here. And I've been seeing a lot of support for USM in the chat, right? And I mean, I think we're going to need a little bit more because this will be no easy feat for the boys over at USM, Regdor.
No, it's not going to be an easy feat at all, and it is going to be a MACU over on the blue side in game one. And to the point before we got into the rosters here is that B1, if it continues to be a thorn in the side, the question is how can you break it? For the DRX and T1 series, it was that all-important Varus that kept on finding its way to victory on the blue side of the map is that B1. But if you find a way to break it, like there's a lot of strong things on R1 and R2 where you can slam things like Lucian Nami. You can take this priority and say, we're going to make use of getting 2 picks back to back to kind of break that out as we're getting through the bans here. And it looks like, you know, a little smattering of everything. We got some mid lane support, top AD bans all coming out now.
Yeah, and that's kind of always the worrying point if you're going up against a team like MACU, right? Where it's like everyone is a contender. You can't really, it's like either you kind of focus on one particular point, but then you got to worry that, you know, top lane can have whatever they want, mid can have whatever they want, etc. Or you kind of, you know, ban a little bit of everything, but then it's like you're losing a bit of something everywhere as well. As you do get those first picks coming through, and already top and jungle looking like gonna get locked here actually for I'm Connor and Haddle here with the Mordekaiser and the Trundle coming through. I like this.
Yeah, that is a pretty beefy top side of the map. It was actually the Lilia picked into the Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser was the R1 pick there for the side of USM. And it'll be interesting. I'll have to double check if it's live now that Lilia is considered a melee champion. Previously, she was known as a ranged, and that was important for the attack scaling on a number of different items. But now being a melee champion, she gets to access a little bit more of that power. If that is live, it will be interesting because the Lilia matchup should already be favored on the top side into Mordekaiser, but that would make it even more rough if that's a way of phrasing this here as we get through the initial 3.
Yep, definitely. So with those out of the way now, we're going to see that mid lane focus starting to come out here. The Azir, the Lissandra both being banned out here. The Fizz as well being taken off the board. Obviously, you know, these picks aren't in the exact orders we're seeing them here. The draft was made before this, and that's why you already see the mid laner, but mid laners are still being banned out. But that does show a lot of respect that has been coming out here for his specials.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good indication now that they're kind of pushed down in priority to the Galio. So far in the draft for the side of MACU, you don't have a real identified carry. Lilia can do a whole lot, but you really just see 2 melee solo laners mixed with the Sejuani, which is a priority you want to have on the top side of that triangle. But on the other side, bang, with the rise technology. That's the champion that can kind of do a little bit of everything, a jack of all trades. So it'll be interesting to see if Especial can actually hold him in lane and stop him from using those realm warps and rotations to make something happen on the map.
That's true. You know what they say, though, a jack of all trades is a master of none. And so I'm hoping that he's still the master of getting the W, but we'll have to wait and see once we get on the Rift. These final picks coming out. There's that Varus you talked about. It's going to be picked up here for QM49 and also following up with the Rakan. And on the flip side, your girl, the Kai'Sa getting locked in it with the Nautilus, the ever so common combo coming through.
Absolutely. You know, there's actually more to that phrase, right? So, you know, a jack of all trades, a master of none, but it's still better than a master of one. So very important here is that these team identities are able to be a bit circumstantial if they're able to play multiple ways through the game. The thing that kind of worries me when I look at MACU is that you've got Kai'Sa, you've got Lilia. These are your 2 champions that are actually going to deal damage in the mid to late game. And Yohon has to make something happen in this. He's outranged by QM49. He has the Nautilus to kind of create these engages, but Rakan very great at playing into that. So the bot side 2v2 focus is a lot of where I'm worried or wondering how it actually plays out, because if Kai'Sa comes out of lane on par with Varus and even, is a lot harder of a game for the side of MACU, who really want to be proactive with the solo lanes and on the top side of the map. So it's kind of stuck in isolation for them.
Yeah, but I'm definitely also seeing a lot of zone potential coming through for MACU, right? Especially here, Yohan. It's just going to be chilling when you've got, especially right, the Galio. You look at the members coming through from USM, right? I'm looking at I'm Connor and Haddle especially, who need to get up close, need to get up in your face. Special just said, listen, bro, Shield of Duran, taunt, come to me, and all of a sudden you just got blown up by an Acathian rain that just got focused on you. All of a sudden, you're just gone. Lilia's running circles around you. You're just gone. And so it's going to be tricky, obviously, that Rakan to break up some of that with the quickness, right? Get on in there, get the charms coming through. But regardless, bot lane, I feel, is really we're going to have to be looking at today.
And I would really be excited for Kingle Bells on the Rakan to pull something that we've only seen a few times, and that is actually the Unsealed Spellbook Rakan. Guardian, only useful like once every 90 seconds. Aftershock, not really a great synergy for Rakan as of late. So go ahead, get into some wackiness, be that utility as sort of a difference between the Engage and Enchanter that Rakan is, and create some surprising angles. I think it was a game, maybe you and I casted, or it may have been with somebody else, where Rakan actually TPs in to a wave behind the team fight and actually flanks them with the quickness. And to that point, didn't know it was Unsealed Spellbook Rakan. So interesting things like that to be utilized. The biggest thing's going to be is really around what is a rather short-ranged composition from MACU, where the Rise and the Varus have a lot more poke and zone control. The Chains of Corruption we've seen that just equals, it's a death mark, essentially, might as well be Zed. It says you're stuck in place, and now you're going to get focused fired down. And when you have that, if you have I'm Connor on a roll with the Delph realm as well, you all of a sudden find yourself in a 3v5 situation around these objectives, and really going to require proactivity to be the first to the fight, to be able to use this Sejuani ultimate and engage, and put on top of that the heroic entrance to really create stability for Johan and D. Davidson to be able to actually accomplish that DPS.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm looking at Johan, especially it has the cleanse as well coming through. Always a nice pickup to see when you're going up against, the Rakan, the quickness. You've got the Mordekaiser Death Realm as well. A lot of CC coming through. Got to be proactive with that, and I'm curious to see how they're going to do. I want to know, though, what Mateus is going to look to do. You think we're just going to see some power farming coming through, or do we get some spicy level 3 shenanigans maybe coming out?
Yeah, I think that you should see and look for early proactivity. You already have a favored topside matchup. D. Davidson should have the push. And then especially Al will really just be looking to mitigate it first until he gets some, points into those Wings of War, until he can actually get the shove into the Rise and make the roams. So I would look for Mateus to hopefully look around this this mid lane early on, get especially Al in a winning position to be able to actually have the agency to roam and look to do what you want to do with Galio, and that's fight over side lanes. That's change the dichotomy of these 2v2s and 2v3s, and really just try to force Haddle's hand. We know once, before he gets the Tiamat, a lot slower clear, a lot more lethargic in the jungle, so hopefully some energy from the side of MACU to get him off his groove.
Yep, definitely. So, well, they've done it time and time again when it comes to energy. They've gotten wins everywhere, left, right, and center, but USM is looking to take them down for the first time as well in the entirety of this NECC season. MACU, as we mentioned before, right, undefeated, have only dropped a single map, a single slip up has come through from them. So it's going to be one gargantuan task for USM. But I'm seeing a lot of support for USM in the chat, Rector. They're gassing them up. I'm expecting a performance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know what you say? If you got your friends, you called YouTube and you said, hey, I want you to see this, you got to deliver. You got to perform. And they've got a lot of picks. They've got a cohesive game plan moving forward. It's really going to be all on the execution. If the bot lane of USM can find these advantages early on.
I love this.
Ooh.
I love this so much. Yes, I want to see blood on the Rift early on, and we might just get that, ladies and gentlemen. We're on the Rift for game number 1, 42 seconds in. Both teams are already grouped up together here, both looking that's such a feels bad moment. It's like both teams, the same idea coming through, both realizing, oh, they might be doing the same thing. But now, as both of these teams do look to return, King Bells needs to be careful. They're going to step over to the brush. They didn't see him coming, though. The squad is here. Dredgeline going to find his mark. Hal's getting lower and lower. Flash forward, though. Staying alive for now. Mateus trying to find him. Gets the stun, and that's huge. First blood already coming through here for MACU. They look to find more, but they're not quite going to get it. Ignite does come out, but regardless, that's the first kill already secured.
And it goes on to Specials, who, with a very unorthodox start with the Dark Seal, pays off in the long run here. I'm sorry, that actually went to Mateus, but nonetheless, there is a stack on the Dark Seal for the Galio going into this lane. Hey, that means the world. A tier start on the opposite side, so this is kind of a, what's the phrase? A wet noodle battle here in the mid lane. Early on, no offensive stats really coming through But very great movement from the side of MACU to stay as a group of 5. And you saw as they started to break off from USM, they were just not prepared for the onslaught.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Hey, and 1 stack, always better than none. Especially Al's going to be able to utilize that. He heads on back to lane. The ward's coming out here, so they will be able to try Haddle, who's looking for that 3 camp clear. Maybe we're going to see that level 3 shenanigans coming out from him instead, but of course, being spotted out is going to allow MACU to react accordingly. But only time will tell if he's able to make something happen. Surely he's probably got an idea that there's a ward there and that he's probably being seen. Yeah, has cleared it out. Now he knows that they know that he knows.
I think it just died to time, but they at least saw Mateus going up to the Raptors, so this is where the mind games can start, choosing to like go into the river and contest this grab on the bottom side, or just continue on their clear up to the top side. Yet to be seen how they're going to choose to go. But now that the map's kind of settled in, you're beginning to see, you know, especially on the bot side of the map, there's a little bit of a range difference. Varus able to start trying to get that push in, as well as in mid lane or Bang. So they kind of control the bottom quadrant or the bottom side of the map for now, which really supports the Trundle here early on.
Definitely so. Unfortunately, King Bell's right. No unsealed spell book. Very sad. A lot of damage coming through though. And I'm Connor does get ignited. That's the shield though. We're still gonna stay alive. Nothing gonna happen there just yet. Tails might be looking here for this mid lane specials, charging up that taunt, moving forward. Might have moved a bit too soon, unless of course it was a bait, and it's looking like Bang is eating it up. Tails is waiting in the bush at the moment, waiting for that time to engage. And back down to bot lane here. Nothing happening just yet. I want to see this mid lane. There we go. We get to see a knock up. Find the mark. Taunt as well. Stun comes through. One more stack will do it. They find the stun and they put Bang in the dirt. Down he goes into the hands of a specials. Haddle is here, but it's too little, too late.
And great time there to just go ahead and we see the
He's gonna find it.
Oh wait, never mind.
Huge pillar, making sure that Mateos can't get away in the bot lane though, finding himself the dredge line with the knockup as well. Mateos just barely able to escape. The speed of coming through though from Haddle. He's looking to chase him down, needs that pillar to come back up ASAP, but it doesn't have it. The cooldown is too damn long. Mateos just barely escaping that one alive.
Just barely. It feels like if Haddle had just committed a little bit earlier on there in the skirmish, probably would have won out, but nonetheless, wasting Mateus' time after that, as well as kind of messing with the tempo of Special a little bit, as we can see, has to burn the TP to get back to the mid lane to catch this wave. And that's just what we see is the strength of Sejuani plus melee solo laners, especially when you have that setup CC, is there's just no way to get out. Bang even invested the flash, and it still just wasn't enough to stop the onslaught of these two.
Yeah. Unfortunate. Two more jewels onto the crown of a special now as well. Sitting on 3 stacks. Sitting pretty with that. Double amplifying tomes as well. Be hitting harder and harder though. Haddle has been deep in enemy territory at the moment. One back to drag is up and available now. Curious to see if they look for it, as I'm Connor looking for some kind of a trade to come through here with D Davidson here. Has that passive stacked, has the shield coming through as well, but hiding on down. It was a bait, it was a trap, and I'm Connor. Fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker, and taunted. Down he goes. The flash almost lets him get out, but too little, too late once again.
And you can see the name of the game for MACU, and they're saying, hey, forget about mid lane. Let's just walk and get a kill on top side now. We've essentially split the map apart. You're going to pick up this first Drake here for the side of USM, and Haddle deciding to take that second rotation of bot side camps is pretty interesting. His top side is still level 1. Raptors and Krugs not taken yet, so he's actually picking up a little bit more experience there by just stealing away these camps from Mateus, who I don't know as of yet if they recognize this has happened. It could just run over to the top side. But again, difference between level 1 Raptors and level 2, you love to see this little bit of a mind game from Haddle with these clears.
Yeah, definitely so. Looking over at his specials, right? He's on that fast path to head on to the bookstore, right? Grab himself that book early on. Already at 5 stacks here, 6 minutes in. Has been doing a great job of being where he is needed, getting those assists, getting the kills, as well as he is 2-0-1. And with that being your front line as well, that's just, he's going to get turbo fade. He's going to get turbo tanky as well as the Drowsy does come out, and they're looking for this top lane. Once again, D Davidson gets on top of him. Go ahead and apply the Arctic Passive here. Need a few more hits to pop it. Not quite gonna find it. So I'm Connor gonna stay alive, but now he's so damn low that D Davidson just has full control of this lane.
And this is the gambit that you run into. Like I said, if you early rotate, because Mordekaiser was the first pick from the side of USM, it gets early rotated and able to have this beautiful counter matchup into it. And you can see the strength that the Lily is putting out here thus far in the matchups. The top side of the map is just everything MACU. They can do as they please here. As you can see, taking away the red buff now.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate. Nothing that USM could do at the moment, but regardless, it's not over just yet. Gold it's not too drastic on any team's favor here. Bang, farming up in this mid lane. Need to be careful. Don't get caught out once again. You know something's up. He's not too trusted. Whenever he sees the specials now, he's like, no. This guy, Mateus has got to be somewhere nearby. He wouldn't just come on the lane on his own. And no, he fell for it once again. Dash forward, taunt, stun comes through. Flash gets used, but it doesn't matter. He's gonna go in the dirt if he can't run fast enough. Just barely gets out of that one. No stun onto Mateus. Handle is here. Speed up comes through. Gonna look for that pillar, but he might be a little slow. Doesn't want to go for the chase, and so instead just gonna help Bang push out this wave. A nice little turnaround though.
Yeah, you can see the damage output even here early on from Bang, and that's the thing is in the isolated 1v1 is Podigo is gonna go for it.
Yep, looking for something. Dreadfly once again, bit of damage come through. Full plasma stack gonna land. Charging up the Pearson arrow, not gonna find its mark though. QM49 and Kinglebell's just doing a great job of keeping him under this turret 24/7, man.
Yeah, they're refusing to let them play out the lane that they want. You can see down 20 CS for Johan, and like we talked about with Kaisa in the past, she is always locked behind this like power. She has to get the upgraded Acafian range. She needs to get to that 100 bonus AD in order to really unlock a lot of that skirmishing potential here in the mid to late game. And so far, they've done an excellent job of keeping her down. Ooh.
Oh my god, there's something. Might anything though. Ward's gonna get cleared, and this Herald already going into the arms of USM here. They, I will say, what they're lacking for kills, they've been doing great at map pressures. They are gonna find D. Davidson, put stuff into sleep, but it doesn't matter. There's just too many damn members. D. Davidson is just not gonna be fast enough. Not able to get out of that one. They're just roaming as the squad right now, looking to take out this turret.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, sometimes you gotta fight fire with fire. If you're gonna 3-man my top laner, we're gonna 3-man yours in return. And especially after seeing that bot side skirmish, they knew, hey, this was up for the taking. We at least had the priority on the Herald, but now in turn, able to get the top lane kill.
Deos, dude, he must have been looking up top here, wasn't realizing QM49 though with the flash to get out of the heroic entrance, but is it gonna be enough? It's not looking too likely. Killer Instinct coming through now as well. Kinglebell's running, but he's going into the dirt. Down he goes. QM49 needs to stay under the turret and stay alive some way, somehow. But there is no way, there is no how, there is only death, and the specials is gonna get out as well.
And now the sides of the map have now flopped. We went from having the top side priority from the side of MACU, and now it's flipped over to USM, as it looks as though they're able to get that first tower down. A little inefficient having 3 members up there sharing that plate gold, but nonetheless, it keeps everything pretty much at a net neutral, just a 600 gold differential. But under a minute till the next Drake is up. As of now, it looks as though the bot side of USM is being stronger than that of MACU. And so it'll be a question if they choose to kind of play for this, as they do have the priority with the bot lane coming back down, if they play for this Drake and continue to try to stack.
Yeah, definitely. So we talked about how, we're going to be looking at Johan, make a whole lot happen, but it looks like MACU is like, screw that, man. It's specials. You make something happen. Mateus, you make something happen instead. Get these tanks ahead. Get some beefy boys on the rift so that they can hold out. And overall, right, USM has been doing, I feel, a pretty decent job of still playing around the map, right? What they're lacking in these kills, trying to make up for in objectives, and they're trying to find D. Davidson. Now he's in that death realm. He's just running circles around I'm Connor, but it doesn't matter. His time is limited. Flash comes forward, just needs one more hit, and they'll find it. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, QM49, down he goes into the hands of Johan, and they're going to give him a second kill as well.
And that is beautiful there. Lose the 1v1 on the top side, but you get a double kill on the bottom into the hands of this Kaisa, and that unlocks this next Drake with Special. Once again, having the priority to roam first and kind of gatekeep girl boss Bang stuck in the mid lane here, as we always like to wedge that phrase into any cast. But this is the skirmishing power, and once again, just showing how broken Sejuani is as a force multiplier in these skirmishes with that passive on her E and getting these stuns down to help kind of CC chain along with Ponyboy.
Yep, nice. The Logic Prism comes through, and there's just nothing Bang can do there. Oh, Adam, my poor boy gets stunned. That just gets absolutely demolished. Actually, stays just barely alive. The burn isn't going to be enough. He will find Mateus. That is huge. There is no way Haddle is still alive. How has he done it?
You can't fight the trundle around things that are dying. It is the most insane thing in the world, that passive. You saw the healing just coming little by little and stopping Johan from actually being able to kill the troll. That's why he's the king, is because he makes his way through situations like that and gets to pick up a bounty on the back end as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He's staying alive in that one, picking up some free gold there. Love to see it. Still keeping everything fairly equal outright. Only a 1K lead at the moment for MACU. But when you look at those kills, obviously 3-0-3 here on his specials. 3-0-3 now as well on Johan, who before was struggling in this lane, right? They've been incredibly oppressed, but they finally found that window of opportunity, and they just kicked the whole damn window out of its frame.
Yeah, but now back in the isolated 2v2, it's going to be around Ponyboy if he can find a very good engage on Kingle, of all people, to actually stop the grand entrance from going down on the Kaisa. That's what's going to be required. But Haddle's also down here. They don't have the wave for it.
Oh, no, they don't indeed, but they've got a lot of CC coming through here. Night Dash coming through. King will just barely staying alive. The TP's here, though. Depth charges are going to find Haddle. Damage coming through. Look at that. Bang's here to join the party as well. Piercing her does so much damage. Just need a little bit more. The wave that they needed is finally here. Question is, will they go for the engage? Specialist here as well. Going to find himself a root. Look at that. They don't even tickle him, man. They barely do any damage. Taunt comes through, and he's saying thanks for the free kill. Turret shot, and they're going to secure the first pick. Down he goes on Connor in the 1v2 right now. Can't quite get that isolation down. He's only going down into the dirt, into the hands of Mateus. He's out of the count as Bang is back and wants some vengeance. Now Root does come through. They find the chomp. They find the damage. Heroic entrance, and they're just not going to have the damage to take out Johan. And now Bang has to run for his life. But Johan says, no, give me some more kills. Give me some more gold.
Now 6-0. Gotta say, that is the acceleration that MACU needs. And it's all off the back of just a bit of mistiming from the side of USM, because there was no wave there for the dive, but yet Haddle still was there, forcing him to charge up the tower and take a ton of damage and still end up losing in the 2v2. Regardless of all the rotations around it, it still equals out with now twice as many kills on the Kaisa. Coming through that first item has the upgraded, the evolved Decathian Rain. That also important skirmishing potential has been unlocked. And now because of that, you're probably going to suffer a little bit.
Definitely so. Felt he got a little greedy under that turret. Athlete named the Troll did a little trolling, but now Mateus doing a little trolling of his own in this jungle here. Going to be a 3-on-3 Haddle with the 1v1 though with Mateus, but Bang is here. He's going to get more bang for his buck though, as he does find the kill there onto Mateus. Down he goes. Ponyboy's got a dip, and so does D. Davidson. Needs to be careful here. Bang gonna be looking for some kind of CC to come through, but the ghost does get popped. D. Davidson is gonna stay alive for now. Ripcoat is gonna get started up. D. Davidson's just gonna have to watch on the sidelines here. Needs to be very careful. Doesn't want to get caught out. MACU is like, listen, man, y'all can have it. We're gonna take your turrets for that.
Yeah, no jungler up means do not try to contest here, but instead just trying to get that priority, get the tier 1 down in the mid lane. Meanwhile, it is Johan all by his lonesome defending this tier 1 and should be able to safely do so, as Ponyboy is going to come back
he's
down.
Not on his lonesome anymore, man. Ponyboy's here, and he finds the hook. Depth charge for a double knockup. They find one. They find the chainsaw, charging up the Pearson arrow. Double TP coming through as well. The whole squad. It turned from a 2v2 to a 3-on-3 now, as the rest of MACU needs to run. Mateus is here though as well. Maybe look for more. They find a hook. They find the damage. They find the kill. They put QM into the dirt. Down he goes. Bang needs to run as well. And overall, MACU is just doing a great job of finding every opportunity and capitalizing on a reg door.
Yeah, Ponyboy is just so clutch with these dredge lines, and you can just see Johan just does so much damage. It is ludicrous on that Decathian Rain, just how much they're able to get down. Has the lethal tempo as well, that's creating just more and more damage. If we're going to get another fight.
My God, there it is again, the dredge line. Quickness gets get dropped, but it doesn't matter. You're only delaying the inevitable. 2 members eat the dirt once again. The USM is being slaughtered right now with Dragon up as well. That'll be a free second drag into the hands of MACU.
And you can see just what was foretold in the draft. You have a ton of Engage and a Kaisa. All you have to do is put out the CC and she will do the rest, especially with the single target burst damage, the single target CC. All these things just equate to this unequal damage.
You stepped up to D Davidson though, and you're about to pay the price. Ignite comes through. You can flash all you want, but it doesn't matter. D Davidson is too damn fast. D Davidson, more like Davidson diff.
I was not prepared. I did not know where you were going with that. Bang, though, is something to watch out for here. It has the Everfrost complete, is working on that Seraph's Embrace. All of the bonus mana he can get if he's able to just hold side lanes and continue to scale in. 4k gold differential towards their side, and now 2 Drakes over to the side of MACU as well. Puts them in a precarious position, but there still hasn't been any super vital blows dealt, right? We still have all the tier 2s standing. There's not, it's another at least 10 minutes until we can look at a real Dragon Soul, which that Mountain Drake, that Mountain Soul would be so important as Bang is going to have to flash away. They still have a way to play out this game with scaling.
So here, they always look for that angle. They're also looking for that pick onto his specials. You could see Addo's chilling in that bush at the moment, but it's going to be a little bit of time before they can get that started. Doesn't find anything. They're just going to go for the back instead. D. Davidson looking to take out that tier 1 in this top lane. Your Ponyboy looking for the Dreadnought, won't quite find him, but Mateo's in the back line. He's going to get tanked up by Kingle, but they're just stuck between a rock and a hard place. And that hard place is Johan, who's going to find yet another kill. This guy is unstoppable. D. Davidson, though, in the 1v1 with I'm Connor in that death realm, and it's looking like he might just die if he's not careful. He's trying to run circles around him. And now that he's gotten out of it, dude, he's just taunting him at this point. He just keeps going in, touching him real quick, running back out, and he's going to hop, skip, and jump his way on out of there.
And that is the beauty of the Ghost, plus those swirling shots, getting that passive move speed up, is that you really can physically run circles around the Mordekaiser in his own death realm. And there is one of these vital blows we were talking about earlier that you didn't want, and that is the tier 2 and mid going down. And the more and more as you look, it's just the side of MACU. They've taken up residence in the jungle on both sides of the map. They say, you do not live here anymore. Please vacate. Just another 3 minutes until this Drake is up. Nothing huge to fight over at the moment unless they go for an early Baron.
Flash coming through. So unfortunate. Trying to find the flash pillar from Haddle here. It won't get it, though. Mateo's just going to be on a dash over the wall. I'm curious, though, for Johan, right? Obviously, you know, being the Kaisa build aficionado, I know we talk a lot about the Bork sometimes coming through, but opting to go for that collector second surprise. That all thoughts takes?
I'm not a huge fan of it. Obviously, they are snowballing, and a lot of ADCs love the collector for that snowball potential. It's giving you crit, armor pin, and the execute as well. All these things, something that you like to go ahead and push that power spike. But I definitely think into what is a double bruiser composition. Like, the Bork would still be phenomenal here. The on-hit build, pretty pog, if I do say so myself. There are a lot of questions of whether it's better than crit. That's up to math if you're able to get X amount of crits, like 60%. But nonetheless, we can see very effective in single target damage. Able to find QM, able to find Bang in these fights, and they just kind of melt. And then at that point, you just have a front line left. And regardless of how great Haddle is on this Trundle, you just aren't going to 1v4.
We'll go ahead and we're on 1 despair, and those starting it up. They've got his specials buying a bit of time, keeping them distracted. They have zero clue. Dude, Haddle is getting his grump while the purple worm is just getting demolished right now. Down it goes, and that's going to be a free Baron into the hands of MACU. Listen, man, Middle American Christian University, they're blessing it up on the Rift right now. They're having just a swell time as on. I don't even have to say anything to this. You know how this is going to end. Lens comes through, too little, too late. Down he goes, kill over to Johan. They're going to look to find a return. Killed over at the heroic entrance. Going to keep him alive. He dashes away, and he's just free hitting from the back line. A double kill, almost a triple kill.
Yeah, that was just nasty, and it is snowballed to the point that you find an engage, you pick the engage, and everything else works as I'm Connor gets him into the death round, gets the 1,000 gold shutdown here as they try to find some life.
Will he live to tell the tale? No, he will not. D. Davidson gonna get some revenge for his fallen brother here. I'm Connor, bought as much time as he could. Bang is here trying to secure anything, but has to be incredibly careful. You can see the beefcakes just coming through, and they're gonna find him with the taunt. You see the engage, you take the engage is the name of the game, Regdor. But it looks to me like Kim49 is saying, no, 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 you're playing my game instead. Dreadline comes through, Ponyboy looking for the sacrifice, but a nice realm warp from Bang is gonna get in behind him, and now Ponyboy is not long for this world. Tries to find at least the equalizer, just barely. Is it gonna be minion diff? It is! The minions diff, baby! You love to see it, especially in the 1v1 now with Haddle as well. He's angry. He is one angry troll, Rector. He's looking for more, but D. Davidson is here, and now they're gonna turn things around. Kingle on his way, but they're gonna take him some time to get there. The TP coming through as well. They find the knockup. They find the stun. D. Davidson not fast enough. Piercing arrow won't quite find the mark, and Johan just absolutely annihilates Haddle.
Yeah, a bit of a messy fight. The overstep from the side of MACU is that they're just going to continue on. Johan,
God,
I don't
Johan. Bit off more than he could chew there. Got a little cocky and had to pay the price. Unfortunately, down he will go. Ultimately, still gonna go 1-for-1. This dragon is up as well, and with Johan not on the rift, the question is, do they want to look to start it up? No smite available, so they're not gonna look to go for it. And so Mateos instead might just start. Bro's a bit of a giga chance. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes and starts it up right off the bat.
No, we're going to take some time. We're going to clear out some vision here along the way. The one worrisome thing is Connor down on the bottom side, all on his lonesome. Not a ward to protect him. He's going to hit the recall. Very smart move, my friend. Overall, in this exchange, the biggest thing to pick out is Johan. Does bleed. Can die. Is an ADC. All these are very important points. When they use that killer instinct, they have to utilize it very specifically, as you saw there. Able to get the kill on Bang, but in turn, were sandwiched between Connor and Haddle that eventually led to their demise in the long play. So really has to be careful. It does have the supercharge evolve now, so we'll go nice and invisible there when utilizing the E movement speed. But still, nonetheless, very fragile champion. Still can get blown up in these team fights, which could be the opening that USM needs.
Yeah, definitely is so here. Flew a little close to the sun, got burned. Ponyboy was looking for that flash hook, just kind of didn't quite find it. There was a little bit disappointed there. Look for the hook on Haddle instead, but also won't find it. A nice realm warp gonna get Bang on out of there. Close call, but obviously that's the flash down for Ponyboy. So that is one tool no longer in his disposal. The question is, can USM make work of that? They're gonna find the Drowsy onto Kingle, though, finding a bit of damage, but a nice dash. Get on away from that, and now Specialist here has to be careful taking these hurt shots, dude. This guy does not care, dude. I love it. He's just buying time, and Bang knows he is screwed. Finds the stun, tries to get some damage. Is coming through, but they find one charm onto D. Davidson. Find the rest of the charms. Ponyboy pretty damn low, but they'll find themselves the double kill for Johan. Gets pulled in though by the nether grass. I think he's in the dimension, and they are gonna find D. Davidson. USM is looking to bring it back on Connor in the 1v1 with Johan, but it doesn't matter. Down he goes. Heroic entrance to make sure that Johan stays safe. He's got to protect him now. Taunt comes through. Get that Akathian rain going, baby. They'll find it, but the kill still goes on over. And Haddle is gonna put everyone into the dirt with the hands of QM49.
This is the fights you need to look for. The important part is Especial maybe went a little too hard in the paint there, started charging up this tier 2 tower's damage. So by the time the rest of his team comes through, yes, they get the kill on Bang, but then it knocks him down to almost, 20% health left on one of these members. They end up in this long skirmish. Kinklebell's giving his life to make sure the quickness hit as many people as possible to draw them back in. And we're starting to see more and more signs of life. I think me and you have watched a game that went 10k gold diff and they end up winning. This is only 4. That's, my math tells me that's so much easier to come back from, and they're slowly but surely doing it by these aggressive oversteps over these tier 2 and tier 3 towers. That's putting MACU in a less winning position than they once were.
Yeah, definitely. So listen, I keep telling you, man, you got to stop throwing these numbers at me. I'm not mathematically inclined. I can tell you, though, you are right with the math. That 4K is a lot less than 10K. And if anyone could do it, it's USM, just the ghost team of this division. It feels like 2 unreported matches. We have no idea what to go off when it comes to those. But honestly, if I had to take a guess, I'd say they might have just won those 2. They're looking to bring it back. And we talked about how they do have scaling on their side as well. It's taken them a bit long, but we're starting to see some breaths of life coming through. They got that cardiac arrest going. They were pronounced dead for a minute there, but they're breathing once again, and they're still in this thing, Rick.
Absolutely still. And something important to note is on the side of MACU, it is the Johan that is the main source of damage, is the biggest threat on the team. still yet not going for the Infinity Edge, going towards the Lord Dominic's Regard instead. So the power curve is real. Now, once they get past this item, they get to the Infinity Edge, which is probably another, 5,000 gold away. That's where the end game really starts to hit. In like any hit, movie series, it doesn't always end with the good guys winning, as it is going to be the second Baron Nashor started up here.
That's true, especially it's gonna get rooted down. Pillar gets dropped as well. Flash over the wall. A lot of damage already coming out. Find the Nether grabs. Absolutely huge. They find the first pick. Baron will be taken in return, but will MACU live to tell the tale? Nice ult coming through though from Mateo. Is gonna go ahead, flash forward. They find the root onto Ponyboy, and he says, "Run, brothers. I will sacrifice my life." And the rest of MACU is gonna escape. 2 members, no Baron, but 3 members will keep it.
And this is about the best you can hope for the side of USM. They notice especially Al kind of away from the team, trying to play, the sneaky Galio in the corner to be able to get the grand entrance, and they just decide to go all in on him. This takes away a valuable tool because that is one less member that can play around these lanes. Probably forces the side of MACU to focus on one lane and trying to knock things down. They've been overly aggressive around this mid lane. Inhibitor is respawn. Biggest thing is going to be creating pressure on these side lanes. Spread the map out, make it hard for USM to be able to respond.
Definitely so here. Drag up in 20 seconds. USM looking for those backs, but they were stalled somewhat, so a lot of the members are going to be late here. And look at that. Specials wants some retribution. Finds himself a nice stun there with the Everfrosting in return. But look at the damage coming up from Johan. Finds himself 1. Gonna find 2 here on Van Kingle. Doing his damnedest to try and find some backup. But they won't find anything. Only 2 members down, and just as USM was bringing it back, feels like they're throwing the ball back over into the court of MACU.
And really just great timing from the side of MACU to pressure, like you said, make those backs all offset, and you end up being able to pick off not one, but both the carries of the side of USM. So they're going to pick up the Dragon Soul now. That's all the ticking timer away from their Baron, right? If especially else had lived, he would be able to push down this tier 2 while they were taking Drake, but instead now they're only going to play with empowered minions on one lane, and just 3 seconds left until QM is up, so they should be able to, stop a lot of the brunt of this siege.
Yeah, they're rushing it in as fast as possible. Gonna look to try and at least get this inhibitor before they back off. The rest of USM has respawn, so they need to be careful. Kingle, he's looking at him and he's licking his lips like, ooh, I see a juicy quickness to be popped there, and pops it, he will. With the Shirelles that's looking to go in, they're gonna find themselves D. Davidson. A huge 5-man sweep coming through. Can they make things happen with the sequestration? Kingle going in once again. He's gonna go down the return kill, 1 for 1. It's not looking good. Johan's on the case, and he's looking to put everyone into the obituary. He finds yet a double kill. Won't quite find the dredge line, and they'll get the return kill. QM49 gonna find himself 1 little pick there onto Ponyboy, and ultimately it is gonna be 3 for 3. He's going
such a huge thing.
Oh, huge though. Trying to find him, but his specials had an idea that was coming. Picked the right side of the rift to run over to. Sorry, Rector. I thought something was coming. Johan, though, looking to keep shoving these waves and has to be careful, though. They're coming from behind. Johan needs to get out of there, and he knows it. The 2v1 epic saga. Oh my God, the anime has begun. Johan finds 1. Johan finds 2. He is the main character.
Really great use of the ultimate ability there. It's just Kingle all on his own. We've got Connor back. It's the dynamic duo here. Gonna try to save this tier 3. Gonna have to see if it's gonna work out.
That's the question here. Flash forward from Haddle. Nice pillar comes through. Double taunt though. Gonna keep Johan still kicking. And Captain Rain won't find the mark, but the Death Realm will. Connor finds 1. Looks to find 2. Who the hell is this Mordekaiser, Rector? I'll tell you. Don't bother answering. His name is Connor, and he didn't come to play.
Yes. Sorry, the Connor line got me. I was not prepared. The good news here is that they don't get much in terms of moving the game forward. They do get that IE, right? So if you're a fan of USM, the good news is Johan doesn't get any stronger from this point forward. We love to hear that, as the Blade of the Ruin King does come in for QM. In that very last fight, taking you way back to the mid lane, that 5-man sleep, a lot of the damage was offset because QM was able to get the Chains of Corruptions down onto Johan at the same time. So he was just stuck standing there with all 5 members asleep, but he couldn't attack them. So really great presence of mind as QM starting to hit these late stage power spikes. Has 3 items strong and can do a ton of damage with those, Blights of Corruption. along the way if he's able to get the pops, but it's going to be on Haddle and Connor to provide that front line to stop the access onto these carries that MACU has been so great at finding at different stages in the game.
Yeah, the Blights as well as the Pearson Arrow, man. We saw it when they were able to catch out the specials earlier on that first Baron take. Did so much damage to him, who is one of the tankier members. They say obviously only having that one armor item, having to kind of diversify the build coming through, but regardless, it shows, right, that scaling potential has been there for USM, and they're starting to actualize it. They're coming back slowly but surely. They're taking fights that they can win. And you know, like every guerrilla squad, right, you're gonna lose some members, but at the end of the day, you just gotta win the battle, and then slowly but surely you'll try and win the war. As they're looking to find Mateos, there is dashing away Haddle in this mid lane. Connor here needs to be careful in the death realm with the specials, gonna look to take him down, but his specials, he's so damn tanky coming through. Haddle's here, so once they get out, they can both fight. Flash coming out though, his specials running for his life. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Johan does find one. Johan looking to find two. He'll find it indeed. Wants to find three, but Bang gets over the wall and escapes. Haddle's here though. Nice pillar, but it won't find anyone, unfortunately. They'll find a whole lot of damage. Bang has to go gold. Where will you go when it's over? Into the dirt. Down he goes. Johan finds a third, and he's looking to just run over USM. On Connor looking for D. Davidson, but he won't find that. He'll only find the gray screen, and Johan finds yet another, and now it's up to Haddle to hold the base. Death timer. Still another 15 seconds until King goes up. Haddle needs to do a crazy 1v4 performance. Does he have it in him? I would say no, because Johan says goodbye, good night, give me game one, Regdor.
That is the beauty of the Kaisa, my favorite champion out there on the big screen. And the hugest part of this in that last interaction is the fact that they were able to split the team fight. USM tries to all in a specials even after the death realm. Meanwhile, Bang and QM are on their own. They've just got a Rakan who's not the most frontliney champion in the world, and they're just decimated and able to split the fight in their favor. And you can just see what happens when this Kaisa gets out of control. When Johan just does what he does, this is why they have only dropped a singular map so far in the split, and showing why this could be another 2-0 in the works.
Yeah, if they keep up in this pace, it's looking very much like it. Even when that ball lane went with that rocky start coming through, we talked about how it was incredibly oppressive for Johan. They were like, dude, we don't care. Just give us a couple more minutes and we'll get this thing. They got the ball rolling, man. They found that initial opportunity. They found that 3-on-2, right, with some assistance from Mateos, and they were able to just take advantage of that. They played their cards perfectly, and Johan just became a bit of a beast. Listen, you told me it wasn't going to get any worse, and I think Johan heard that, man. He was like, okay, we need to end things right here, right now, before things start getting better for USM. They take game number one. It is a best of 3, so USM isn't out of it just yet, and I know all those USM supporters, their faith has not been wavered. We're seeing them in the chat going off, going crazy, and now out of all, if there was any time to lend your support, now is that time indeed, because USM is going to be backs against the wall. They need to win 2 games back to back, but if any team can do it, I think USM can. We'll have to wait and see though, because we're going to throw it to a quick break, and then when we're back, we'll get into the draft for game number 2. Don't go anywhere.
message from a new world I'd never known. Something about it felt like it'd been waiting my whole life. Is this home? I can hear each sound calling my name, and I feel angels around when I start to sing, and suddenly it feels like heaven's not so far away. Tell me, can you hear the symphony? Panic, panic, I can't help but think that it's meant to be, that I'm finally right where I'm supposed to. If I let you into the secret, would you listen? I can hear each sound calling my name, and I feel angels around when I start to sing, and suddenly it feels like heaven's not so far away. Tell me, can you hear the symphony? Panic, 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 tell me, can you hear the symphony? And before too long, I found where I belong. I can hear it, oh, I can't stop the rush. Every note I touch, I can feel it saving me. Tell me, can you hear the symphony?
Where you look, where you touch, where you feel, yeah. Where you look, where you touch, where you feel, yeah. Yeah. Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? Where you look, where you go, where you feel, yeah. Where you look, where you go, where you feel, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where you look, where you go, where you feel, yeah. Where you look, where you go, where you feel, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanna know your dark side. I wanna know your secrets. I wanna be your lifeline. So I wait for you, wait for me. Wait for you, wait for me. Tell me you're more than just a highlight. Pretty pictures on the outside. I hate to stare at you through these lights. So I wait for you, wait for me. Wait for you, wait for me. Click and scroll, I can't let you go. They say I'm addicted to you. Click and scroll, I can't let you go. They say I'm addicted to you. Oh, oh, this ain't love, no, no. This ain't love, no, no. This is artificial. This ain't love, no, no. This ain't love, no, no. This is artificial.
I wanna know you inside and out. Wanna know what's behind the light.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, about to get into the draft for game number 2, which could possibly be the last game of this series. If MACU has anything to say about a Rector USM, I mean, it was a tall order before. Now it's a colossal, mountainous. I can't even think of more words. A very, very big order coming through for USM. Back to back, they gotta take the dub right against the team that has stayed undefeated in their division, but they did bring up a pretty good showing. Obviously, the early game was a little lackluster, but I feel like if they can clean that up, then USM definitely has a shot at this.
And I would almost say that their early game was great. It was on the reverse of the matchup where they started prioritizing the bottom side of the map where things started to go awry. It was the Sejuani working really well with the solo laners, making things happen early on that created some of that disparity. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, they were able to continue to get a lot done. But as soon as the Sejuani started going bot side, was paired up alongside that Nautilus, it became kind of unplayable. And that's really where we saw Johan really start to break out and get accelerated in the matchup. I think if they can create a little bit more stability in the bottom side of the map, as we talked about with them on the red side, it was the support that got the counter pick. And Rakan, interesting champion. Sadly, Guardian, his main keystone, kind of nerfed at the moment with that 90-second cooldown, as well as what we saw from the proactivity created just that disparity. So if they're able to find a bit more stability on the bottom side of the map and continue to play around their solo lanes, I think they find themselves in a much better place around that 15-minute mark.
Yeah, definitely. So I also feel like just in general, in mid lane, things just gotta chill a little bit. It was getting caught out a few too many times. I feel like with those early ganks that were coming through from Mateos, right? Always seeming to kind of find him, get those stuns procced, and then they just grab themselves the kill. Hate to see it, but It's a new day. It's a new game. And with game number 2 on the horizon, let's take a look at the draft here. Once again, we've kind of got that, every side's catching a band this time around. Every team member's catching a band. Aatrox. You've got the MF on the other side. You got Vex, J4. They're just get everything out. They're just banning every champion on the Rift at this point.
Yeah, it feels like a very personalized bans. There is the Gangplank to kind of finish it out there.
Screw every one of you.
And it's top Warwick. It's top Warwick in the game. Okay, listen. So this was a counter pick. This was being picked into the Irelia. They knew it was coming. And alongside that Poppy. So Warwick in lane is a very, very interesting champion, but has that ability with the damage reduction on the Q into the fear to really kind of screw up Davidson's ability to kind of trade in that normal way. But they're both basically stat checkers, right? Whoever has more items, whoever has more levels is the one who's going to kind of win out. So I'm excited to see what they're cooking up here, because Connor, we saw a lot of breaths of life, a lot of gold funneled his way in forms of shutdowns. We'll have to see what he can do here.
Yeah, definitely. So last time around on a champ, it felt like an isolating champ, but with that Mordekaiser was doing a great job of pulling key members into that death realm, trying to get those early picks, get it started. Unfortunately, it was just a little too late once he got to that point that he was really making things happen. This time around, though, they're going to look to turn it, though. You see some respect coming Haddle's way. They did go ahead and get rid of the Trundle here. They didn't want to see that. Like, listen, it was looking a little too good on that Trundle. Let's see what else he's got. Has he got any other champions in his repertoire? And Haddle just said, listen, man, you take that away, I'm taking the Poppy, and I'm making sure that Mateus is staying very far away from those objectives.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to be one of the biggest things, is how they're able to use the Keeper's Verdict to really space some of these guys out of the fight and turn numbers to their advantage. Going into the second round of bans, the biggest thing is we have a Azir Victor matchup, which is probably like the oldest handshake in the book. They're both scaling. You got to download the DLCs if you're a special, be able to get access to those upgraded abilities to really be that team fight threat. And on the opposite side, Azir needs some time. Has a lot of different keystones that he can really opt into, but this is basically a poke v poke lane here, and doesn't synergize as well with Mateus' Sejuani as the Galio did in the past game. So they're going to have to look for Sejuani to have to play a little bit more around the top side of the map.
Yeah, something huge to definitely point out, right? USM is on this blue side this time around. They opted to grab that Nautilus as their first pick as well. Wanted to make sure that it doesn't go into the hands of Ponyboy, because we saw just how detrimental those Dreadline can be if they find their mark. And so Ponyboy just says, okay, man, you take away one hook champ, I'm grabbing the next one. I'm going for the Amumu. Why have one hook when you can have two instead? And then also an ult that just stuns. Works even better.
And one of the biggest things here is we're going to have to see is what keystones they opt into. I think in the melee versus melee matchup, this is the time where you either say, hey, I'm going to take the Aftershock if I'm a Mumu, so I have that damage reduction. Vice, I think Nautilus can opt into Glacial Augment a little bit here. One of the big things is in this 2v2, because Nautilus has that auto attack animation that causes the lockdown, it sets up QM for the Yorba Snap Trap to be able to get that full combination of those headshots one after another. And this is a lane that wants to push. And once again, as we saw with the difference in attack ranges, has the ability to push early on and try to really focus down Johan underneath the tower, put down the Yorba Snap Traps, and try to get a lot of damage off, which means Haddle needs to focus the bottom side of the map. He cannot mess around and dilly-dally. He needs to go down there and start getting QM ahead of the curve, because we saw what happens when Johan gets an advantage.
Yeah, and it doesn't look pretty for USM. That much I can tell you. If you somehow didn't see game number 1, it was a bit of a Johan gap. Not gonna lie, QM49, he's like, listen, this time around, I'm not letting that happen. I will say, though, I'm looking at the composition of MACU, and I'm seeing pretty much every single lane has some great setup coming through for Mateus, where I can really make to look something happen. Mid lane, maybe not as much, going to be a little trickier, but especially that bot lane and that top lane have so many tools, especially get that passive proc from Mateus as well. Get those. We saw how crucial those were to securing those kills, especially when ganking the Galio. This time around, I'm looking at that top lane, especially get that Warwick just out of the game early on, just set him on a crash course for disaster.
No, absolutely. And I think that's the biggest thing you're going to find here, is that there is a lot of setup for the side of MACU in their lanes. But especially on the bottom side, just for the supports, is that they don't have easy point and click CC. They have to be able to actually target the champion with these skill shots. So QM's ability to play inside the wave not only mitigates the damage of Johan because the Catherine Rain is going to spread amongst everybody, but additionally doesn't allow Ponyboy to get on top of you. And so if you're able to have that pushing lane and not give them the all in, well, Had only has to be down there for the first clear, only has to be down there long enough to really neuter this lane and get them pushed in, and then provide that kind of like overwatch for them early on. And then they can kind of make their way around the map. Why Mateus has to make something happen on the top side early, because this Warwick can get out of control. And again, you think Irelia's crazy with just a Vamp Scepter? Warwick's wild with just a Vamp Scepter. Is able to do a lot of sustainment in this lane. So it feels like whoever gets that first blood, whoever gets that econ and tempo in the lane is the one who's going to continually win out without the jungle intervention.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. I don't think we're definitely not getting jungle intervention coming through, because we've especially seen from Mateus, man. He is everywhere at all times, right? He is just sending it into every single lane whenever he gets a chance, looking to get his laners ahead. Same thing coming through from Haddle this time around as well. Should be a lot easier, I feel, for the side of USM to secure some more of these objectives, right? We see it all the time when we see a Poppy. You've got just the ulti comes through, send the enemy jungler just back to the Shadow Realm, get him on out of there, and then there's nothing they can do secure it with the smite. But you know, MACU, no pushovers, so it's definitely it's a tall task, as we keep pointing out, because it is, and that's what you gotta call it, right? You're going up against the champs of your division. MACU dropping a single game. You gotta think about that. Out of the 6 games that they've played, dropping a single one. Actually insane.
Yeah, well, hey, and as far as we know, USM's only dropped a singular game as well. But, you know, who knows what those other 2 games were like, as we're going to get onto the Rift here shortly. But again, it's all, I'm going to keep on bringing it back to this bottom lane, to QM on this Caitlyn. They have to be pushing, they have to take plates, and they have to be ahead of the tempo. If they're not able to do that, if they're blowing flash early on, if they find themselves down in spells and not able to have the push, well, then it's really neutering a lot of the early game of USM, and additionally creating more pressure on this Azir to get into the game and get online.
Definitely so here, but game number 2 is underway, Rector. I'm just going to say, man, before we get to see what's going down, I was looking at those comps. I'm seeing another full level 1 engage potential, and it's looking like I'm being rewarded, because once again, both of these teams are stacking up. Question is, who's going to look to move first? We saw last time around both teams moved in, but it was, I believe, USM that got the short end of the stick there. So for now, I'm going to play things safe. Don't want to push forward just yet, and especially with an Amumu on the side of MSU, those double bandage tosses are just so menacing in the early game.
Oh, absolutely, and this is the biggest thing here, is that we see the mid lane and the jungler are the ones who burn their wards here early on for this level 1, trying to stack a bush and catch them out. USM decide, hey, there's no reason to bring more volatility into this game. We'll just do the same thing and kind of stack this bottom quadrant. They both chose the defensive option, and it ends out pretty easy for both, but especially Al not having a ward, not being able to decipher where this jungler is going to be, can be a problem for him, meaning he shouldn't be able to have the push early on into his ear, and hopefully give a little bit more room for Haddle to start making these early plays on the map. Use that headbutt and really start making some things go.
So here, already trading coming out. Love to see it, but regardless, both junglers looking to start up on the red, going to be pathing opposite sides. I feel no real surprise coming through here from Haddle, right? We talked about once that Warwick, if he can get ahead, whoever gets that first blood in the top lane can just run away with the game. And so Haddle is going to look to make exactly that happen as well, opting to skip the Krugs, skip the Raptors, just go for those 3 camp into a gank. Would be very surprised if we don't see it in that top lane the next minute or so. But on the flip side, right, that's it, heading on down it. Maybe we could see some kind of level 3 coming out in this bot lane as well. A lot of volatility on both of those lanes, so it's really only a matter of time before we get to see some action.
And the biggest thing here is that there's going to be a buff to buff here as Connor actually makes sure he doesn't get stunned out there. Really smart play.
Might have been the death of him there if he got stunned out already. You see those low HP bars coming through. They're really just trading back and forth. Obviously, barrier is available for Connor, so that has to be taken into consideration, and their handle is he's making the long con approach into this top lane. Rector, you mentioned whoever gets first blood can run away with this game, and they're looking to give it on over to Connor. Flash comes through, nice flash from Haddle, but not gonna find enough to see it come through there. Unfortunately, that is gonna be flash for flash traded, and since Haddle does have that hex flash, it's not that big of a loss. But now on the flip side, Mateos on his way into this bot lane does get spotted out by the ward, has that headbutt available, flash forward, nice flash from QM. Ponyboy has to wait for that secondary bandage toss to come forward, but the minions are there. Can they play in the wave is the question. A lot of damage comes through, nice cleanse from QM though, gonna keep himself alive. Will they find the pick though? Nice flash from Kingle, he's burning, but he's not gonna burn to a crisp. He'll stay alive, just barely.
But the damage has been done. That is all. That's 3 out of 4 summoners blown from the side of USM, and now they cannot get the push. They're going to be stuck under this tower, which is the opposite of what you want to do with the Caitlyn lane. I would love to see the junglers' priorities been reversed, either that being Paddle, going buff to buff into a bot side gank, as opposed to going up towards the top side, because they were not able to get anything done there except for blow Davidson's flash here early on. Now Mateus trying to take away the Raptors, but now QM's a little bit on the back foot here. But we can see the damage output that is possible from this Caitlyn even early on.
Yeah, definitely solo headshots hurting quite a bit. Davidson looking for that engage, found the stun, has that full Q stack up here, but does need to play. Tace has to be very careful. With that barrier still online for Connor, that's a lot more HP you gotta chew through. With that shield's gonna be huge, could come in clutch. And with Davidson not having flash, that's one more tool not at his disposal when it comes to trying to escape. But regardless, for now, the calm before the storm here. Next drag is up, or first drag I should say, is up in 30 seconds as well. Curious to see which team is gonna look to move forward first. Wouldn't surprise me. USM are going to be the first one to the task. Game 1, we saw that they like to favor those objectives, even if they do lose a member or two on the flip side of the map.
Yeah, the biggest thing for right now is MACU has themselves in a pretty good position. You can see Johan just holding this wave here, and that's going to be the first recall for Mateus on the top side. Because they did the clear the way they did, they still have Wolves and Gromp up that are level 1. Here, while it does look as though Haddle's going to be finishing out just now, is Wolves on the top side. So you can see like the early investment into these ganks kind of making their jungle clears a little sketch, a little off-centered, but it's still the tempo going towards the side of Mateus, who's going to have the first look on the Drake. And since there is no flash on QM, no flash on Kingle, they should have the first look by pushing this wave in.
So on his way down, grab some extra camps first though. Up. Ponyboy moving on over, placing some vision down. They do have a vision there for USM, so I'll have an idea if it looks to get started up. Level 6s are now coming online. Bang in particular as that level 6 first one here on the Rift to get it. That Shurima shuffle, huge playmaking potential. Same thing though now on the flip side of the board. D Davidson has that ulti available now as well. Curious to see if we look to applies it, but Chaos on his way on over. We've seen him do this before, placing down the control wood, so he knows there's no vision there. But Kingle look to start things up already. Haddle's here as well. Bit of damage coming through. Yes, they're going to make sure to try and zone him off for him. Oh, Captain Rain doing a lot of damage on the Kingle, though. Johan has that lethal tempo fully stacked, looking to go forward. Bit of damage coming through. TP comes out at first blood. They're going to go 1 for 1. Nice dredge light comes through, and the turret shots on Johan. He's burning, but he should be able to escape this one. QM, though, nice shot, and going to find himself yet another kill. And now Mateos is not long for the world. Kill going to go into the hands of Kingle. But regardless, USM is not going down without a fight in game number 2.
Great turnaround from USM. A little bit of an overstep from Haddle equals out into that death. Able to get the caustic wounds down there from Johan to be able to pick up, I believe that was first blood, but trading back all 3 kills for the price of just a few mid lane tower plates, 1 to be exact here. So gonna give a little bit of tempo over to Especial, which we've seen what he can do, but the ult under tower.
Oh, so huge coming through here. Connor gonna go ahead and grab himself a pick there onto D Davison. And USM's also looking to grab this dragon, but it's not looking like it's gonna go well for him. QM needs to get over the wall, not quite gonna find it. He will just barely escape. Especial's getting lower and lower. Haddle flash over the wall to get on out of that one. Just barely escaping alive here. This dragon hasn't quite reset fully yet, so at 1.5k, QM might look for the steal, but the Peacemaker protocol isn't quite gonna find it. Overall, it's gonna go into the hands of MACU.
Yeah, MACU able to utilize the recall timers very well, or the death timers, and get back out on the map before the side of USM could get a reset in. So they were all kind of sitting on gold. They were sitting on less than full health bars, and they jump on that opportunity to make sure that they can turn this around, pick up that first strike of the game. Gonna love that Ocean stats on almost everybody here. But earlier, we saw Infinite Duress used under the tower. I'm Connor picking up the kill, working on that Blade of the Ruined King, and that's great because that's what we said. Once you start to get ahead in this matchup, it becomes very hard for either side to really push back without jungle intervention. And all of that intervention right now is going towards the bottom side of the map, going towards these AD carries that we know can get very scary as this game progresses.
Yeah. And that's what I want to see, right? Because we saw, like we mentioned before, a lot of breaths of life coming through from QM49. Obviously, you know, like we keep saying, it was a little too late. My boy was like 2 and 8 towards the end there, but then once he saw the opportunity, he took it over and over, was able to find those free firing moments with that lethal tempo fully stacked. Those piercing arrows were finding their marks over and over as well, keeping the fights equalized for the side of USM, but just fell a little short to the likes of Johan. But this time around, being 2-0, QM49 is going for the kill. They're stacking up these plates now as well. Such an oppressive lane. Haddle trying to hex flash on over the wall. Now gets spotted out there by the vision in the river, but I don't think it worked out too well for him. So he's gonna have to abandon that play, unfortunately, and just chill in the bush here instead. Gonna look for something, but Johan and Ponyboy, they know something's up. They're not gonna fall victim to this easy trap.
No, but you know, even just hovering there and knowing that the jungler could be in the area, it's trying to go for the end lane, but there's a ward in the bush, so they're gonna get spotted out again. But it still just stops the side of MACU from being able to aggress at all, stopping Ponyboy from being able to look for those bandage tosses and just getting the waves right back under tower and try to, you know, just sync up again, get these headshots down because of QM's attack range, is able to kind of flirt with the tower aggro and get some folks down here.
Listen, man, the walls may have ears, but the bushes have eyes. So do the river as well. And Haddle learned that the hard way. Couldn't quite find anything, and so in return, you see Mateos, right? Already started up that Herald, taking it down as a fight is brewing in this top side. Connor gonna ult to try and escape on out of that one, but D. Davison is hot on his tail. Chaos Storm gets dropped from a specials. Are gonna use that barrier though. Stay alive for now. Close call though, not quite gonna go down. And with that Rift Herald in the hand of Mateos, I'm seeing a real rich future here for D. Davison if they look to drop it there, and it's looking like they will.
You do have Haddle on the Gromp. May kind of look up here to try to mitigate so they can't take a full tower like they did in the last game. But still, nonetheless, Connor is kind of low. Elsa scaling on the Warwick is pretty nuts though. So as you can see on the upper left-hand quarter, almost back up to 3/4. No big deal.
Bro didn't even back, dude. He's like, listen, do you know who I am? I'm always here. I'm not leaving, baby. Still in this lane, has to be careful, but Haddle is on his way. D. Davidson, no ult, has that flash, so nothing really gonna come out of it just yet. Banish toss onto Kingle, though they're gonna look for something. The specials is here, sidestepping the Yordle snap trap nicely. Gonna go one-on-one here, a lot of damage coming through, and Johan gonna pick himself that one up. Ponyboy looking to see if he can maybe find another Banish toss onto QM, but not going to be so lucky, and regardless, Johan's getting to that point again, Rektor. We saw what he can do in game number 1 with this Kaisa if he can get ahead. We saw him once he got those first initial 2 kills, things were looking menacing, and he's got him once again.
We'll have to see if he chooses to go the same route in terms of build this time. But the biggest thing we're seeing now is this is a much more stable early game from the side of USM. There is not bounties on every member. It's just those 2 kills, plus 1 over to Ponyboy there. He did invest the Curse of the Sad Mummy on that all-in on Kingle. So everything's in the bot lane as of right now. The rest of the map pretty stable. And once again, Haddle's down here trying to provide that oversight. Allow for this lane to continue to push. They've gotten 3 tower plates. Let's try to get to 5, here in the next 2 minutes. Get QM on the mythic item and unlock on the map.
Yeah, I'd love to know just how much gold has been invested in Vision for the spot lane here. It seems like it's constantly, especially for the side of MACU, it's just been giving Haddle such a tough time, man. He keeps looking for these engage opportunities, but every time he steps into a bush, there's a ward in it, and there's just Vision on already, and there's nothing Haddle could do. Very unfortunate, but he's not going to stop trying. In this top lane, just top lane with things coming through, but I say that, and now they might be looking for the engage. D. Davidson going to pop that ulti, trying to wait out the fear. Does get hit by in the bot lane. Dredgeline going to find its mark, but that might have not been the engage you were looking for. Huge ult comes through. 3 man of them, and Johan going to grab himself that kill once again. 3-1, and now with that, MACU are just going to take that pick and head on to the dragon for the reward.
And that is the 4-man on the bot side. If you're an ADC player, it's a feels bad moment. In this case, the support giving their life in the process. But that's tower plating over to Bang. That's him having a free lane to go ahead, as you can see, keeping up in CS pretty well. They're on par with one another, and these are the scaling options when you talk about both USM and MACU. It's going to be on the Azir. It's going to be on the
Davidson,
Victor.
though, gets hit by the Shurima shuffle, but does a nice little dance over the arms of Bang, dashing over him. The Shurima soldiers are here, slowing him down. Connor trying to catch up to him, but just doesn't have any of that matter to pop. The W doesn't have ult either, so he's going to have to let him live for a little while longer here. Specialis, though, cashing in some of those platings in this mid lane. Ponyboy's here as well, looking for some kind of an engage, but Ingle and Bang on their way to collapse on over as well. Gonna drop the gravity field to make sure they can't follow. And ultimately, they're gonna come out of it just at the calm before the storm once again. Rektor, something's brewing, man. I can feel it.
Yeah, all looking around this mid lane. There is not a Drake online for another 4 minutes, so nothing to really fight over, but has again been this alleyway that has led to so many kills, led to so many ganks that they're trying to wrestle control from one another out of it.
Definitely so here. So 2 drags on the side of MACU right there. They started that stacking process. It has begun. Another 4 minutes. They could try to do it once again and go for 3 for nil drag-wise. Seeing their objective priority in game number 1 has been huge. Has paid off for them somewhat. Always allowed them to keep the gold coming through. But MACU this time around says, no, we're taking we're taking everything on the map. They've been taking the Rift Heralds. They've been taking the drags. They're taking kills here and there as well, but it's a lot more tame, I feel, Rektor, than in game number 1 this time around at the 15-minute mark.
It is a silent sort of gold lead going on here. MACU just 2k gold ahead right now. They're going to be looking for a nice little cheeky bush gank here.
This could get tricky, man. Gonna go ahead for MACU now. Looks like a bit of slow, bit of damage coming through, but Johan, nice curse to the sad mummy, gonna find QM, and he's stuck between so many members. He's gonna eat the dirt, and a special says, thank you for all this gold. I'm getting rich tonight. Johan gonna grab himself the 3rd kill, and I just masterclass of assassinations coming through right there. They collapse on him perfectly, as in this top lane now, D. Davidson needs to follow in the footsteps of his teammates here, trying to get this kill onto Connor. A lot of damage coming through, though. Connor still has the barrier, he has the ult, and he has the damage, and he's gonna put D. Davidson in the dirt.
The infinite duress once again being the demise of D. Davidson. Now just got the Blade of the Rune King, and he has the Blade of Steel Caps, trying to weather the early storm, but it doesn't get better. Lane Warwick just gets tankier and more healthy as time goes on, and that's the sort of thing that you want to have when you have a fed Johan, is somebody who can just get on him and stop him. I don't care about your ghost, I don't care about your items. You can't auto attack when you're suppressed. But a lot of these plays so far set up from MACU based on the timers on the mid lane. It was Bang who took a bad trade and had to reset, and in turn unlock the special to be able to walk down to that bot side and, like you said so eloquently, box in the bot lane of USM here. Once again, he's chilling. It's going to be a TPN from Davidson.
He's biding his time. Indeed, TP coming down to Captain Ring, going to find some damage onto QM, though. Nice stuns coming through, push him into the wall as well. But they're lacking so much damage, and so Johan going to be able to escape that one. D. Davidson, though, not going to be so lucky. QM says, get the hell away from me. Get down, Mr. President. But Johan is still going to eat the dirt, and QM says, this is my game. Bot lane is mine. Stay out of it.
Has the Kraken Slayer online, walks to the bush to make sure they can continue to get the headshots down, and really for the side of MACU thought, oh, we've got the timer, we can get the TP in here, a nice little 2v2 skirmish, but it's Haddle on this flank, ready to rock and roll and really turn that fight around. And this is what we wanted to see out of them game 1, is the continued repeat ganks from these junglers to give this pushing lane what they need, to get the tower down, to get some more gold in QM's pocket, and should be able to rotate this lane, hopefully towards the mid lane, help out Bang, get him in a side lane, and really look to pressure this 3rd Drake and stop MACU from stacking.
Definitely so here. Got 46 seconds left to do it. I'm Connor. He smells something. He's going to be Mateo, who's able to get away, though, able to get that quick recall, has yet another Rift Herald under his belt. They're pretty sure he's got that 100% collected right there for these Rift Heralds. I don't think a single one has gone to the side of USM in these past 2 games, but regardless, the question is, can he utilize it? It's all fine and dandy if you have it, but if you place it and don't get anything from it, it's just a bit of a rift diff. We'll have to wait and see for that one. 17 seconds on this Dragon here, and QM's looking to start the party early here. Chaos Storm gets dropped down, but so does the Specials. They will find themselves QM in return, though. So, with his dying breath of Specials, it's going to take them down with them.
Yeah, the trade out there, pretty, marginally the same. We continue to watch this gold lead stay stable, which is a great thing, as Bang's going to look for the Embers Divide.
Nice little shuffle. They're coming through the fear, and Mateo's going to have to flash up the wall, but it doesn't matter. So much CC. You can be as tanky as you damn well please, but it's not going to be enough. USM grabbed themselves the jungler of MACU, and so that should be a free Dragon for the hands. They're going to be able to stop the stacking coming through from MACU and grab themselves an Infernal Drag while they're at it.
But while all this is happening, the Shelly gets to take the mid-tier 1 and get a charge off onto the tier 2. Davidson able to get a tier 1 on the top side. Now he's going to fight underneath this
QM,
Q.
you don't win these, my brother. Never mind, I lied. QM does win those. So much damage coming out. QM just finessed on the top laner. They say that ADCs can't solo lane. I beg to differ after seeing that one. But now, QM needs to run. Needs to be very careful where he moves next. And he chose the wrong side. Down he goes. Johan picks up that kill. They're going to look to get a return kill for Dreadfly. Gonna find themselves. Tony boy, he's giving his life for the cause. Respectable.
My man just got Keeper's Verdict. He just got juggled into Davidson. That was beautiful. Don't know how well that was intended, but you're right. QM able to get the outplay on the top side, but the end state is they get 2 towers in mid for the cost of their jungler, their top laner, and they lose a Drake. So that feels pretty good if you're a USM fan. You continue to see the gold lead, though, because of the gold in that tier 2, swing more towards MACU's side. But the gold lead, I don't feel like directly represents what's happening on the Rift right now. 2 items on QM, 2 items on Johan. All the scaling is about equal across the way here. It's just really in the mid lane where you see Especial almost on the, stasis item, and they haven't made it there just
Zhonya's,
yet, but as opposed, to the Zhonya's.
So. Oh, as my feed has frozen indeed. I'm not sure if it's the same for you, Regdor. Not sure if it's the same for the stream. It is indeed. Okay, rested. There we go. We're back. Okay, we're back in it. A little bit of a strategy pause there, maybe, for USM. I had to rethink their tactics. Oh, no. The red buff have been stolen. Mateos, come on. Let them have that at least.
Yeah, that's a feels bad moment. You just walk up and hit it with the 900 damage. Connor, though.
Close call, though. Able to dodge the ult with his own, so that's going to be 2 ultis down. Very, very... If that had gone bad, if Connor had gone down there, that would have spelled absolute disaster for USM, but it's going to stay alive. Of course, that does mean that Infinite Duress is going to be unavailable for a bit of time, but on the flip side, Chaos as well. And using that ulti is such a great starter for these fights, right? And with that being down, that's a huge CC ability that is off the table.
And now they're looking to try to set up for a siege here from the side of MACU. The biggest thing is they don't have a great sieging comp. They have a great all-in and pick style composition. Victor being the only champion that actually has the range to try to poke under tower, as they're just going to continue to try to trade out here. Looks like they're trying to create some pressure around the Baron. We've seen what these Barons can do early on, especially in game 1. MACU uses it very well over side lanes, but this game's a different story thus far.
Definitely so. You can already see that damage coming out from QM onto Pony Boy. He's hitting like a truck if he can find those headshots. Really going to be up to the members of USM to make sure that they can zone off for him and not have QM first to peek these bushes here. Just barely sidestepping, but he's not going to be so lucky for Pony Boy. Trying to free fire, but Johan says, no, I know what you're planning. They find themselves 1. They find themselves 2 and 3. And now King goes in the thick of things. Down he goes. The return kill, the double for Bang. He's looking to make something happen here. Connor needs to run, get lower and lower. Pops the barrier. Will it be enough is the question. And the answer is no. And now Bang has to run for his life, but the Arctic Assault is gonna just barely not grab him. There dashes to the soldier, and Bang will stay alive.
And 2 for 4. This is not the trades that you want to have. It looked like a good angle for the side of USM, but you can just see how beefy of a front line and how little damage right now Bang actually does. The Luden's build, great, but not to tear through what is some health stacking from the side of Mateus, as well as just the innate tankiness coming from levels. and that's going to be the name of the story until he gets on to the second or third item, which so far he's been kind of starving, it feels like, if you look at the itemization as it is.
Yeah, that was, I feel like, a huge thing to look at as well. Might have to wait here looking for another engage. Bang, incredibly low. They're just gonna dash and layer all the CC they got. They're trying to catch QM. They found him and they take him down. They also find Kingle while they're at it. Haddle and Bang needs to run for their lives. Blue Buff not gonna be so lucky. Down he goes. But back to that earlier fight, right? You saw Johan instantly dashes on top of QM, realizing he's that main threat. If he's allowed to just free fire into the masses, then all of MACU are not long for the count. Johan gets on in there, a Caffeine Rain run on top of him, takes him out, and the fight goes into MACU's favor.
Absolutely, and this is the beauty of having that late game scaling Victor now on 2.5 items, is that if Kai'Sa goes down, goes into the backline, gets the assassination, and trades their life for it, you still have Especial putting out so much damage with that Chaos Storm, being able to synergize with Mateus with the Gravity Well, and really just creating the longevity that they would otherwise lack if it was just a single carry composition. They once again have the priority here on this Drake.
Bang looking for something though. Chaos Storm gonna get dropped. Ponyboy was looking for that bandage toss. Doesn't quite find it though, but they'll find the dredge line. They find a whole lot of damage, and they'll find the kill. Kurtz of the Sad Mummy getting dropped. Nice double stun, and they're gonna find themselves Kingle. Van trying to find something in the sideline. All he's gonna find is his own demise. Down he goes, a double kill for Mateos, and with his next dragon up, MACU are gonna go ahead and look to grab it here. QM, full HP, needs to look for something here, but his special is gonna be holding the line. Careful that you don't get stunned. Finds that headshot. Get down, Mr. President. Goes gold, though, to dodge the ulti. QM, not quite gonna find that damage.
And that is an important cooldown, that ace in the hole we've seen able to secure so many, as now Haddle is the, oh no.
Oh, Haddle, no. Down he goes here. QM, bit of damage coming through. But this is not much more than he can do, but watch as Haddle falls.
Yeah, that is the unfortunate side effect there. Has the Blade of the Rune King. This is the on-hit build that I've been talking about for weeks, and it has come to fruition. On 2 items here, does so much damage to Haddle, so much damage to Connor, and still hits like a truck on the squishier targets as well. Has the Rage Bait complete. This is just danger zone. If they're able to get the Killer Instinct and get these isolated Cathian Rains off, you see, even if Haddle was still only at 1/4 of an HP, that went away very, very quickly.
Definitely so. Looking at the gold difference as well. Staggering. It is getting larger and larger by the minute. Feels like USM is slowly but surely bleeding out, and they just don't have enough bandages to make it happen. Have that turret there. It's gonna give them it's gonna relieve a little bit of pressure in this mid lane, right, with those Azir turrets there, holding them off a little bit, but that's also just a ticking time bomb until that goes down.
Yeah, the Sun Disc able to try to do some patchwork here. You know, the reason why USM can't find any bandages is because they're all on Ponyboy, right? Bandage toss.
Yeah. Okay.
Was that too good, or is that bad? Okay. Was that cringe?
Yeah, I like that. I'll give you that. That was pretty good.
Okay.
I didn't see that one coming. I won't lie. I like it, but I know for a fact that USM doesn't like that the Sun Disc is no longer shining. Down it goes, and once again, pressure is being mounted upon them. They only have one more tier 2 to work with in this bot lane, as it looks to me like D Davidson's looking to make quick work with the one in the top lane, and once again they look for the engage, but it's on to Ponyboy. This is what he wants. Top Curse of the Sad Mummy goes in. She gets out though. What? Actually able to get out of that. It's huge. Hit him with the thumbs up. Mateos is just like, listen, back the hell off.
I don't actually know what happened there, of how he ended up.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm not sure how he got up, but it doesn't matter because I know that Johan is deep in enemy territory. Finds a double kill. Looking to find Kingle now as well. The stun comes through. And Regdor, USM is not long for this earth. A triple kill going into the hands of Johan. They gave him Kai'Sa once again. I was thinking about making a bit of saying, like, you gotta ban Kai'Sa. I should have, because right now, it's not looking good.
No, it's not looking good at all, as Davidson has just been unmatched, taking the tier 2 and the tier 3 on the top side. And this is the beauty, is they're not a siege comp. They want to fight, they want to kill, and you gave them too many fights in a row, just running into Johan, just saying give him more gold, and he's 11-3. Once again, 5-1 on Special. They are just in the zone that they want to be in. They have gotten what they would like to receive, and with nothing else left on the Rift for them to take except for towers in the Nexus, that's what they've moved on to.
Yeah, definitely so. It's getting rougher and rougher for USM, as if the damage from the 11 3 Kaiser wasn't too much already, right? You've got Ponyboy has that even shroud doing extra damage once he finds those bandage toshes, and he always seemed to find them. Bit of a sniper when it comes to him is now. USM might look for this, flashing forward, gonna look for Ponyboy here, doesn't quite find the trap. It's just dashing forward, so much damage coming through. Ulti gets dropped, not quite enough to kill him. The minions are chasing him, but I don't think Ponyboy's escaping this one unless QM actually gonna let him live.
That feels bad. That was so close.
So bad.
Oh, but as you can see, like outside of the context of just the game, just looking at QM himself, piloting this Caitlyn so well, was able to get the tower in the early game, get 3 or 4 plates out of it in the process, accelerate them. But it's been the dive, it's been the pressure from MACU that has not allowed him to kind of have that quarterback pocket to sit in as this ADC, as this marksman, and get a lot of the damage out. But now has the Infinity Edge, is doing even more damage. They are ready to have a fight, but they need Haddle, they need Connor to create that stability alongside Kinglebells for them to stay in the pocket and get things done.
I think especially it's going to fall to Haddle to kind of get that opening for them, right, with that Keeper's Verdict, because so far we've been talking about how Kingle has pretty much only been able to initialize onto Ponyboy, right, because that's the only person that's really stepping up as they are going to look to find themselves the specials here. Nice Keeper Verdict, that's everything that we talked about. Johan is alone at the moment, but Ponyboy is just there. He's just a bouncer of this club, and my guy is a 6'5", 300-pound menace, bro, because no one is getting past him without the password.
What is the password?
I don't know, man. I sure as hell know that no one on the side of USM knows. Nice little ulti coming through. They find the stun. They find the damage. It's a tale as old as time. Dashing forward. QM uses the blast cone, but the Acathian rain does so much damage. Double blast cone. Gonna stay alive a little bit longer in this bot lane, though. D. Davidson and I'm Connor going at it once again. Question is, who has the damage? Connor. Oh my God, look at that. Yo, what was that healing, dude? His health bar just went all the way back up, but D. Davidson says, I can do the same. They're just slapping each other. Is it gonna be enough? No, it won't. I'm Connor will come out victorious at the least.
Just their stat sticks, you saw it. There was so much healing and damage going back and forth, but in the end, Warwick does survive. The Hound of Zaun lives for another day, but there was a lot of damage done by the super minions in the base. As you can see, tier 3, not even tier 3s, the Nexus towers nearly gone off of that play. They get the Baron, they get the Soul, and all they got was a top laner in response for it.
Yeah, and if the wounds weren't big before, bandages won't do anymore, Rector. They need like the entire ambulance full of supplies if they want it. They need sutures, they need, I don't know what it is. They're bleeding out fast, right? Those Nexus turrets, not long for this world. That single tier 3 remaining in the bot lane as well is looking like one auto attack away from going down. And so overall, USM, they gotta find some kind of angle. I don't know what the angle is. It's like on that 1 degree because it is looking rough.
Hey, listen, I've seen open Nexuses and the team winning with the open Nexus. So I never say never, but it's looking pretty hard for the side of USM.
Not over till it's over. Good mentality. Sundisk is going to get dropped. Give a little bit of potential relief to come through here for a little bit of time. USM some time to make something happen as well here, but it's just not looking very likely. The full assault has started on this bot lane. They want this tier 3 gone. They want Ponyboy gone as well. Dredgeline gonna find it with the knockup as well, but nothing other than that. Not gonna find too much more. A lot of damage coming through. Montuno though does get hooked once again. Flash over the wall, but look at that damage. Curse of the Sad Mummy, and it's all over for USM. MACU are just too damn clean. They find 4 members, and now I'm Connor is the last one standing. He's not Connor anymore. He is dead. Down he goes, and with that, MACU are gonna stay undefeated once again.
And you see the reason for their victory, and it's all through these carries. It's through Johan, it's through Especial, and just the expert engagements from Mateus, from Ponyboy that equaled is just the success. We talked about the quarterback pocket that you want to stay in to be able to deal effective damage, and they create it so wonderfully for these carries that there's not a counter answer. There's no way to get and access these damage dealers.
Yeah, I mean, even in Kessler, we mentioned it that, we just keep seeing these dredge lines land onto Ponyboy, and we're like, listen, can't keep hooking him, but who the hell else are you going to hook, right? It's like he's always there. He's always in the front. He's just standing there menacingly staring at you. He's like, listen, what are you going to do, bro? You want to engage? You got to get through me first. Spoiler alert, you're not getting through him at all.
And a lot of that, I praise Ponyboy for taking the Aftershock rune, saying, you could pull me in, I'm going to mitigate your damage, and great, kaboom, I've got this ultimate that now is going to effectively, if I use it, stun your entire team, or B, if I don't use it, it's going to zone you away, so QM can't even get in and do damage, even with Caitlyn's sniper-like range, has to avoid it the entire time, and just utter destruction from the side of MACU. A wonderful 2-0 series, and a wonder to watch how somebody's going to take them down in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not, I know we got to stay unbiased, but I'm not seeing too many angles how someone's going to take this team out, man, because I see you laughing already, you're chuckling at yourself, because it's true. It's like, how do you take these guys out? They are looking menacingly, they are looking just undefeatable. That was a master class of League of Legends once again coming out from them. I certainly understand now why they were 6-0 now, make that 7-0. Some teams got to step up and make it happen, man. They can't keep getting away with this.
Yeah, it feels like step 1, ban Kaisa. Step 2, have the inside track on Mateus. You know, if I was trying to build a team to take him down, that's probably your 2 answers off the top. But nonetheless, we don't even know what else is in their bag of tricks because they didn't get pushed that to that point in this series. But definitely excited to see if they move into best of 5s, what that looks like.
Listen, I don't even think that banning Kites is enough, man. I think you got to ban Johan entirely, honestly, because he's just it was Johan diff on the Rift this time. Obviously, we didn't get to see him on a different ADC, but something tells me he's got a lot more picks under his sleeve. But regardless, very nice 2-0 series coming through here. Overall, they stay undefeated at USM. They took a shot at the King and they missed, unfortunately, but I'm sure they'll get another chance at some point. Regardless, though, that's going to be the end of this series. So we're going to throw it to a quick, or a somewhat substantially longer break as we get the next and final series of tonight ready up. Don't go anywhere.
Feel that real love from within. I want real love, real highs. You're just enough to get me through. 'Cause you're officially perfect for me. So wait for you.
Up all night thinking, passing the time, anxiously waiting. You're on my mind, losing and winning. You can't get it right. Hoping you see me from more than just night.
Up all night thinking, am I on your mind? Will you come meet me and change my life?
This love could be deeper. Just
Thinking, will you love me?
can't scroll, I can't let you go. They say I'm addicted to you.
Addicted to you.
Can't scroll, I can't let you go. They say I'm addicted to you. Oh, this ain't love, no, this ain't love, no, this is artificial. This ain't love, no, this ain't love, no, this is artificial. I need a scarecrow after what you did, 'cause all of the birds know that I'm almost dead. I'm barely breathing, I'm barely awake. You left me in pieces, in this century. Don't wake me up, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. You're just a memory on my lips, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. I need an angel after what you did, 'cause you were the devil, you messed with my head. You lied to my mother, you lied to my friends. You said that you'd be there, but this never ends. Don't wake me up, not in this century. Don't wake me up, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. You're just a memory on my lips, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. 'Cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. You're just a memory on my lips. You're just a ghost inside my head. Oh, you're just a ghost inside my head.
is snow there, it is cold there, but I am safe and I am warm. Although it's hard, I know I gotta keep up, no time to late, to drift away. I find my space, I spend my time down the rabbit hole again, and as I fall I can feel the pain. You can't tell me where to go, so I don't know, and just go with the flow. I go with the flow. I'm falling up, I'm falling down, from the sky and from the ground. Up above just like below, and I don't know where I should go. 'Cause I'm stuck in limbo. I'm out of love, but I guess I deserved it. Trying to hide, to pass you by. I'm getting down, feeling fine. I'm light as air, no one can reach me. Lost in a dream, lost in between. Let's keep on flying, let's keep on breathing. I'm falling up, I'm falling down, from the sky and from the ground. Up above just like below, and I don't know where I should go. 'Cause I'm stuck in limbo. Cause I'm stuck in limbo. Cause I'm stuck in limbo.
Living in the same routine, like the seasons I'm on repeat. It's a long way down. Times have changed, but so can you. So can you. For too long about the mistakes, while I resent, I learned to hate. Forgot your names. Fear the struggle to follow on. Need to focus to prove you're wrong. I'm not wrong. I know I'm holding on to this. Holding on. I know I'm holding on to this. Holding on. Don't let me repeat it. Don't let me repeat it. Cigarette ash, it looks like snow. When it falls in the wind, you know. And you say you wanna dance. You're wary, you know, you'll end up in the wrong hands. And you're having fun. Why don't you show your friends? And you're having fun. What if it never ends? I'm lacking sincerity, but you don't care at all. Miss booze, lit cigarettes, trying to take me home. Falling in love just a million times, breaking it off, put the feeling on ice still. She's as cold as December. I swear I've seen you before, holding your shoes in your hands, running out that door. And you are nothing, but you say you wanna dance. And you're worried, you know, you'll end up in the wrong hands.
feelings. It's like I can't walk on the ceiling. Oh yeah, got me dreaming.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the NECC. I'm ready to go. My name is Orbital. With me is the best minion to ever wander off the wrist. It is Random Minion Caster. We are ready to go for our second series here on the main stream. Of course, it is going to be in that Legends division. Fisher College Boston going up against Northwood. It's a battle of a Titan coming in here as Fisher College Boston have already secured their round for playoffs. Northwood still chasing theirs. RMC, how you doing?
Doing good here, Orbital. It's our second series of the night and the last series on this stream here for the night. And Orbital, one of the best things about being a minion that got off the rift means that I'm alive a lot longer than just one wave here. Long enough to actually remember this Fisher Boston roster here. These guys, sure, Fisher might be new to the NECC, but these players certainly aren't, because they've got 80%, 4/5 of the old Bay State College roster, the same roster that nailed down second place at Nationals at CeeLo this year here. So, Orbital, that is a scary task to face, and you mentioned it, Northwood are still chasing their playoff dream here. They need one win tonight, Orbital, one win to lock in that playoff spot. But up against Fisher Boston, well, that's a bit of a tough ask.
Yeah, and to give a great understanding, it's not a win of a series, right? It is a single game. That means that if they're able to win one game, they will win in a head-to-head difference with one of the other teams in their division. We might be able to have that on the screen for you here shortly, but that's what they're playing for, right? A single game, a single moment, a single opportunity. You can see it here. I do believe that would actually put them in between, I want to say, Rutgers, if I'm not mistaken. So again, that is not the updated one, because Fisher College Boston looks a little bit low there on the standings.
Well, Fisher has, reporting issues in regards to their scoreline. So we'll ignore Fisher for now because Fisher is fine. But where Northwood is accurate. And the cutoff is 6th spot here, Orbital, for the playoffs. They are one series, played less than Purdue right now. And the problem is that they lost a head-to-head to Purdue. So there's a 2-game differential right now. If they can grow that differential a little bit, then if they can get the win here, then they put themselves in a safe spot. If not, then well, they lose the head-to-head to Purdue. So it's going to be tough. And now, Orbital, it's not like Northwood University is weak by any means. The big issue for Northwood is that their roster is still a little bit in flux here. They've had a lot of roster issues. Your jungler Shimmer has been on and off in terms of being available. And from what I hear, this might not be their final form of their starting roster here. They're still making changes off on the side here. This is just their roster for NECC specifically. So the cohesion for this team might not be as together as, say what we're seeing from Fisher Boston, which is a team, like we said, played the entire year this year together pretty much. Only their AD carry is new and who have even locked down titles before. So that's the rough ask for Northwood.
Yeah, so much to think about here. So many ideas that are kind of running in there. And the fact that you pointed it out, right? A single player is the only real difference for this team of Fisher Boston. And even then, it's not like they're slotting in a brand new player. It's not someone that, hey, it's, my first time, I'm going to try and get a win here. It's someone with a storied past. Enthralled coming in here saying, hey, I'm going to be one to step forward and give us a great show. This is a team that is looking to still cement themselves as a top dog because, again, if they want to prove themselves, if they want to come out as first in the division, that's what you're playing for. So not so much that, hey, we already made playoffs. There is seeding to think about. There is the fact that, hey, the higher you go, the easier chance you have making your way through the playoffs and through your own run here. So let's go ahead and run down the players that'll be rounding us out here for Fisher Boston. And it's Can't Win, Top Dragon, Min Kim, Saranok, Enthralled, and Old Pal, which I actually do believe is going to be Sword Blue in there in the support role. On the side of Northwood, it's Azo Select Jungle. I like that one. Brand new player, by the way. Reppy, it is Chrono, and then Herox in the support role. That jungler seems to be pretty... Okay, there we go.
We selected the jungler. There we go. Yeah, like I said,
that's your roster for Northwood.
Did have some, question marks before that. Apparently, our production had some question marks on the jungle as well. It is confirmed. It is Shimmer. And yeah, you see that whole string of letters and numbers in the AD carry position. That's Kronos. Why he chose that name, I don't know. We are not going to be trying to pronounce that. Kronos is Kronos. That's the AD carry for Northwood University.
I feel like you just kind of face rolled and you're like, oh, I was trying to make a password here. Oops, that was actually my username. I do apologize. So just like face rolled, got the letters, got the numbers. It works though. And again, for Kronos, it's a lot more on the line than just that, hey, I got a crazy name. It's the fact that you're going to be in the spotlight here. As we said, for most of Fisher Boston, their entire composition feels very cohesive outside of that single player. Granted, how long has Enthralled played with them? That's a question. It's still a somewhat weakness in that wall there that could be exploited. So for Chrono, you're looking at it, you're like, this is my big opportunity. I have to try and make something happen in the spot lane, as that feels like one of their main opportunities to work with.
More than a weakness overall, I just view it as a question mark right now. It's a mystery box because I am completely unfamiliar with Enthralled. While I have seen all the other players on Fisher Boston before, I don't know how good Enthralled might be. I will say this much for Enthralled, though. He's in a really good spot. He's on a team which can carry him if he needs it. But of course, that's not what you want to do. You want to be a pop-off. You want to be a carry. And that, I think, is the reason why we're kind of looking at this bot lane for Northwood University. Because Kronos and Hero have been rock solid in the bot lane for Northwood University. A lot of times, even when there's trouble on the Rift, when they're struggling here, this bot lane isn't the problem. In fact, they're usually the one shining point for this team. Now, being solid is great. But tonight, Orbital, they need to be more than solid. They need to be great here. They need to be these big carries. So yes, my eyes are going to be focused on that bot lane.
And for that bot side, I mean, if we're talking about Chrono, what kind of champions are we hoping to see? Because we know that that Chrono has played a majority share of the Ashe, I believe 3 times with the Ashe, and then right behind, the Kate, Kaisa, the Misfortune, and the Varus, a little bit trickling down. What are you expecting? Because we know Ashe. Ashe is not like the big hyper carry that we always see. It's a great carry, but not a hyper carry. Are we expecting something a bit more powerful in that position as we do get underway with draft here?
I mean, 3 games of Ashe, but a complete 6 games of lane carries, or 8 games if you include the Kaisa as well. So I'm hoping to see a little bit of that. Now we are on to pick and bans. It is going to be Fisher on the blue side, Northwood on the red side here. And interesting to me is that the Caitlyn's actually being banned against Enthralled here.
Not just that, the barrel special right there, ladies and gentlemen, the Heimerdinger ban out there, or more the sword blue special, whatever you want to call it. Right now, we are getting the picks coming in here. Of course, as you can see, it has already been locked in the role position, so we'll give you a bit of an idea, but the main one that we're taking a look here is a Bejani coming in here with that Fiora. It's a great pickup. I love the fact that we're seeing it. It's against the Yone, though, and that was actually a counter, the Yone into the Fiora.
Okay, and this is actually kind of crazy because Izo is known as the tank top king, the Maokai king. He plays Ornn, Maokai, these sort of tanky top laners. Yone is not really something I associate with him. And the fact that he's opted into this matchup here, Orbital, I'd said eyes bought, but now my eyes are now wondering, should I be watching top lane? Because if Izo can carry, that changes the entire series.
It does, and the fact that they're also pairing it with Shimmer on a very aggressive jungler. The Udyr was actually picked up in R1. We know what Udyrs like to do. They like to run around. They like to be a nuisance. They like to be annoying. Followed up with the fact that you have a Corki in the mid lane. We're seeing a lot of craziness here. Quickly hopping over to the side of Fisher Boston. We are seeing the Dragonman Kim special, the Graves coming out here, very stock standard. Same with the Silas, a great roundabout for the jungle mid. Yeah,
and we did see in the second round of bans a lot of focus against Serenok here. We were just talking about Ashe, but we were talking about it for Kronos here, and Thrall taking a page out of Kronos' book, and I like the Varus. We saw how effective it was at just the World Finals here. It was literally the series-defining pick, and this time Kronos gets his hands on it. It's a nice lane-dominant champion here, and it honestly doesn't do too badly into the Ashe as long as you can play well around the minions. So, we had talked about Northwood bot lane being a potential win con. Looking at this draft here, I think they've got a lot more carry conditions, but I'm liking what we're seeing at least coming up the bot lane.
Yeah, this is going to be a nice little dance of death all the way through. I mean, these are compositions that want to fight to a great extent, right? I don't expect these teams to really walk away as easily. Maybe on the side of Northwood, we can see them kind of playing a little bit further back. You're taking a look at the Corki, maybe a lethal tempo Varus. But they're not going to be up front as much. It's mainly the Udyr and the Yone. Those are the two that have drawn. As you said, the Yone, very, very important to watch. Is it going to be a large exploitation point? But the Kronos, of course, the Varus, it's drawing on both sides. So I'm very, very excited to see what they do. But let's take a look at Fisher Boston, right? This composition that they've laid out feels very forward as well, very aggressive. Key components, any one of these lanes can pop off on their own. That's what it really feels like. The Fiora can pop off on its own. Even the Graves in the jungle can pop off on its own. And everyone knows a Sylas. And anyone that's seen Serenok play knows that they can pop off on their own, right? Like, this feels like any individual, if given a slight chance, will take over.
Yeah, and I think that perfectly fits the Fisher team style here. They do like to hands check their opponents. And if they win the hands check, well, that tends to define the series. But what I also like is just it's a very well-rounded composition, very meta composition to come through here, Orbital. Like your Sylas, depending on what outs are available, you can do a lot here. You've got the engage from the Ashe and Nautilus, and I think the engage is actually going to be key. Because when I look over to Northwood's side, Northwood, you mentioned that they do have strong engage potential with that Yone, with the Udyr, but I think a lot of it's actually going to be out disengage from Repi and Chronos here. And if anything, I actually wouldn't be surprised if we see a Poke Varus come out with that Arcane Comet instead, get that zone, get that poke. There's no true tank on the side of Fisher here. Nautilus doesn't get that tanky. So if you can create that zone space, if you can get that poke down, and then when they're low enough, that's when we see Iso, Shimmer just hard engage and find your winning fight here. But you've got to survive the engage from Enthralled, from Sword Blue. So I think a lot of this game, Orbital, it's going to come down to positioning. It's going to come down to the bot lane. And not from Northwood, actually, more from Fisher. Can they land that critical engage on the right targets, on these squishy targets?
You know what? I would say, yes, that would be a problem if it wasn't a Nautilus, right? At level 6, you're just like, listen, I don't even have to think about aiming. It's press R, run at them, and have a blast, right? But agreed. You are still going to have to hit a lot of that engage, bring forward a lot of what they have. And the fact is, yes, there's not a true tank. It's a Lulu. Come on. Anyone that's played against a Lulu understands that someone's going to be beefy. Someone's going to be really freaking annoying. And honestly, if it does come out to be the Poke Varus, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Lulu actually roam out, play a little bit more proactive, chase and follow where Shimmer goes, because it's an Udyr. Like, I keep going back to this, and I hate doing that, but it's an Udyr, right? If that Udyr gets ahead, you do want to bolster that Udyr to give them a great opportunity to take over the game even more. So, I mean, if it is a Poke Varus, if it's a Varus that no matter what is going to play in the backline, doesn't really need the polymorph, doesn't need the attack speed, why wouldn't you roam that out? That's really my concern there. So a lot of things for Northwood to take a look at. RMC, with both these compositions laid out bare, if it were not the players, if we were just looking at composition, is there one that you are sliding towards in the early stages of the game?
Ooh, early, a bit hard to say. I think personally I would favor Northwood's composition a little bit more in the early game. Yes, Ashe Nautilus, very dangerous. But I would very much like the Varus. And Yone against Fiora, early game as well. Yone is actually able to trade quite comfortably into that Fiora till she gets a couple of levels under her. The big difference maker, and the reason why I'm hesitating at all, is really because of that Graves. I think Graves early game, much faster clear, much more impact into the lane. So DMK, very aggressive early jungler here with that Graves. Maybe he can swing the tides a little bit, get the early game going in Fisher's favor. But otherwise, I think Northwood, just compositionally, nameplates off, should have an easier time with the sidelines a bit.
Nameplates off. That's what you have to think about here. You cannot think that you are up against one of the strongest teams in this division. Northwood are going to have to play with the nameplates off. It's just a Nautilus. It's just a Sylas. It's just a Fiora, just a Graves, and just an Ashe. All thoughts there. But, of course, we're going to most likely get the battle lines drawn, and Northwood are going to be like, we got 2 Yordles. We can work with it. We can have our fun. I think I see your brother Jim down there, by the way. That's pretty cool. Eyes are open, though. All eyes are open here for what this game number 1 means. Remember, Northwood just need to win 1. They will qualify for the playoffs. Whether or not they fully participate and what roster they do participate with will be a big question. But maybe this game in this series will give us a little bit more understanding in that factor.
Yeah, and I feel like to some extent, we're harping a lot on Northwood's wins. I don't think Fisher is going to allow them, or is not going to gift them that 1 win.
Yeah.
Sure, it won't affect their standings too much, but from what I know of Fisher, this is a roster that, well, they want to win and they want to look good while doing it. So if they can 2-0, they're never going to give that extra win over here. And looking at this composition as well, I think the draft from their coach was really, really solid, really well-rounded for an opening game. Yeah, this is not a for fun. This is not a speedrun draft. This is we're going to play it nice and cautious.
Nice and cautious, nice and simple, and nice and fun. You can go ahead and see there, Fisher College Boston versus Northwood University, game number 1. getting underway. We get a beautiful overview map, and what do you know? Fisher Boston saying, Hero, you might not have a good time. Of course, the ward helps, and the ward is down. Extra CS, 1 over to Dragonman Kim. Already on the win. Yeah, throw that thumbs up. You win. Good game.
They can keep going. They can look for that invade here. Kronos has to be careful here. Thankfully for them, Sword Blue wasn't leading the charge. They won't find the kill. They will be able to poke out Kronos, though, and it also gives full control of this bot side to the side of Fisher. Now, what's scary for Northwood is that you're not sure if they stay or if they fall back. So I like that they got that deep, aggressive ward on both sides to know whether or not it's safe for Shimmer to actually go to his blue buff.
You walk into blue and you just meet Sword Blue, just like, hey, I found you. It's that is a terrifying thought in its own right. But we are going to see opposite sides started up here. Dragonman Kim, both junglers starting on their red side, but a little bit more help landed over towards that side for Fisher Boston. Big important note to make, whether they go for the quick clear or full clear. That is an item that we do have to watch. Shimmer getting some help from Izo, as the Yone is one that we want to watch and see how it plays out. Already, though, at level 1, Serenok giving a very nice introduction to Reppy.
Yeah, and Reppy actually going for that pull right away in lane. So Reppy kind of saying, I don't care about the mid lane control early. I just want to farm, scale up. And it's typical of Corki. Another thing to note is it's not full Varus. It is that lethal tempo Varus that you mentioned earlier on Orbital. So, you know, Northwood, their poke is going to rely a lot more onto Reppy here, and their early game might not be strong.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Okay. Oh, I have no words. Serenok, you're not allowed to do that. That's like game 2 action, not game 1. What the heck, bro?
Serenok looked a bit confused. He turned away for a second. He was like, surely Reppy isn't going to stick around. And Reppy didn't flash and ultimately paid the price.
It was so fast my brain could not keep up, right? Like, that's how quick it happened. Serenok is already off to a beastly start. 1 kill, went back, got a Dark Seal as well. And all Reppy could pick up was that refillable potion. Like, this is going to hurt in the mid lane.
You know, I believe just over the pond in Europe today, there was a first buy Magi's in the NLC division. I kind of want to see Serenok do that, and he gets a couple more kills. Hey, maybe you first rush that Magi Soul Steal. Now, I don't expect Reppy to repeat that particular mistake there. I think didn't expect the burst that can come out from Silas. Silas not known as an early game champion, but when you're called Corki, yeah, you got to watch out early.
Yeah, that's a downside. And Hero on this bot side, getting a little bit of treatment from that hook. Top side though, Dragonman Kim already stealing away a couple camps, and that is very important to note, right? Giving up a little bit of pressure in the river, and we're going to see Shimmer try and match. This is going to be important between the junglers, see who gets most of the action here and who gets a lot of that viable source. Serenok, though, goes in a little bit more. And remember, Serenok doesn't have flash, so they are going to go in, pinch that front. Shimmer's going to tank 2 tower shots, and they do collect a kill back. A very well-worn, well-fought kill to bring it to a 1-1.
Yeah, unfortunately, both DMK and Sword Blue not quite in position to capitalize on that. So well played from Shimmer here now. They do have to be careful. Dragonman Kim not finding either of them for now. And Northwood able to equalize for now. Actually, a small lead even because of that roam out, because of the way it went. And I'm actually not sure that DMK found the Krugs in that top lane. Ooh, Reppy getting delayed.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, it has come back up, and Izo, Izo might not. But Johnny's just waiting. Johnny was just like, yeah, you're going to pay the price. But right now, Shimmer has had a little bit better time in terms of the proactivity and getting in the face. So Izo ready to go, but Johnny looking like they don't want to try and fight this one. The slow is enough, but Johnny is going to get a perfect repulse off. So Shimmer is not going to get the perfect stun that you're looking for, and instead the damage is turned around. Johnny, perfect counter to the 1v2.
Yeah, and Izo not able to really find anything off of that here. Trying to play aggro with that minion wave, but yeah, look at what happened. Serenok actually roamed up now.
Yeah, it bought enough time, so if we can go ahead and swing up. This is Serenok. Oh, well, you know what? Serenok got baited a little bit, and I grant that benefit of the doubt, right? Alco play, not normally standard in anyone's repertoire.
Hey man, if Izo can outplay on tanks, give him a bit of mobility, and apparently, yeah, he can outplay on these carries as well. Really well played from him. That alcove play, not something we see too often there. And once again, Northwood kind of are fine with that particular play. They don't lose out. Sure, Shimmer got pushed out, but Shimmer's a new tier. He doesn't care. Serenok, though, is a menace. He roamed out, comes back mid, didn't even really drop too much CS here. That's a massive wave for him to pick up, and you can see Reppy now with the tier, with the longsword, still no combat stats for the most part. Still can't really duel Serenok, and level 6. I mean, okay, the rockets aren't the scariest thing, but hey, if DMK drops by, I think they have enough burst to just outright kill Reppy.
Reppy's gonna be like, I don't like anything that's happening right now. Izo still getting chunked as much as it's actually a two-pronged fight. So both top and mid got into a little bit of a scuffle. And Bajani saying, hey, you don't get that chance. A single proc on that Vital would have been a kill. I think that's what Bajani was looking for, but rightfully backs away, says, I don't want to test these waters anymore. Play it smart, play it safe. Izo has no teleport, so you get free lane in the top side, and even Izo's like, I don't know if this is proper for me right now. Shimmer giving a little bit of comfort to Reppy, giving him an opportunity. Now the arrow on the bot side, though. We are going from top to mid to bot, and Thralled getting some damage down as well. Extra shields and heals, though. Another good hook. It turns around, the ignite goes off, and the cleanse to bring it about. They will survive just narrowly, but enough to force all the summoners out.
Yeah, a lot of hesitation on using those flashes there. DMK still dueling down there in that bot side of the river, but that really favors Fisher because their bot lane can move first.
Yes, they can, and because they move first, they have granted themselves an opportunity. Shimmer getting forced out of that Dragon Pit, and with 4 alive, I mean, that's going to be Fisher Boston easily taking Dragon number 1.
Yeah, because now you forced out Chronos. Chronos not going to get there in time. Reppy, kind of low, doesn't really want to fight this. Now Shimmer is still in the area. Again, Udyr very, very healthy. Doesn't quite have the smite up yet, but I don't think Fisher know that.
Yeah, they, I don't think, well, actually they are testing it, so they are going to try and chance in, but because they do, they hop right into the front fight, and because they turn it around, it is going to be the kill. DMK picks it up, and it's going to lead to a few more. Hero, you flash, you get into the wall, but it's enough. It's enough to slow things down, but Enthralled says, give me just a bit more. Serenok stealing that kill away from Enthralled, and they take so much more. Reppy is there, but I mean, what can you do? You don't really have enough damage on the back end. Big Rocket lands, DMK is going to run away, but I think they got out scot-free. Oh, Serenok. Serenok said, hey, I have an option. Reppy with the 2-inch flash is going to try and turn away, misses all the abilities, and because it is a whiff, the Baron falls to the ground.
Okay, I see here, Fisher. I mean, aggro juggling on turrets is already impressive enough. They just aggro juggled Reppy there. Could not find a single target to stick on to. Just kind of baited him left and right, and now 4 kills, pardon me, plus Dragon for Fisher. Massive blow up for them here, and now they can just rotate for that Herald as well. It's 8.5 minutes here. Northwood are not in a position to reply, and with that gold, with the items that Fisher just got, and with Bajani's pressure in the top lane, Herald should be free. They can use it to try and bait. If Northwood ever check that, well, Fisher just repeat what they just did at Dragon.
Rinse, repeat, do it over and over again until you get the win. That feels like it's what Fisher Boston are going to do. You can see here, bot side, big wave collecting up. Bajani trying to get a little bit of an opening. Wants to really kill Izo. Had strike twice now, by the way. That's been 2 attempts under the tower on Izo's life, and both have been kind of there. Taking a look, though, Dragonman Kim going to go ahead, head to that top side as well, and we do have a little bit of a tech issue. We do apologize. We'll get right back in the game as soon as possible, but so far, this game is leading out to what we expected, right? Fisher Boston, from the get-go, been very strong in the early game.
Yeah, and we kind of mentioned, Fisher Boston likes to hand check their opponents, and that can define a series, and they're hand checking right now. Shimmer and Izo going in, Izo no ult.
No ult indeed, but Johnny trying to bait it out as long as possible because Dragonman Kim is there, and Majani's going to live with just a sliver of HP, and now with the collateral damage, Izo is going to try and heal up, but guess what? It's a 3v2, no chance whatsoever, because the fight on the top side is there, though. They found an opening on Chronos. Remember, punch one space, and you get punched in the other, and because of that, it is Swordwiller that picks up the kill. Serenok steals the kill in the top side, and everything goes the way of Fisher Boston. Nothing lost in the mid lane either as Serenok teleports in.
Yeah, and Shimmer, you can't be here, buddy. I know that it looks juicy, but Fiora's tankier than you think, and she does a lot of damage here. Holding decently well, but I'm actually worried about a potential dive to come through. Bajani has already shown a willingness to do so thus far. Now back into the mid lane. Serenok, the Ankh top, didn't miss a beat. didn't miss a minion under his turret here with that TP, and Reppy TP to his turret earlier. So, all things are equal, and Serenok just finding leads, finding better roam timings.
I mean, it's what you would ask of like a perfect mid laner, right? Push the wave in at the appropriate time, be able to rotate out, get a perfect roam off without losing anything on the back end, right? Because usually when you roam out, you lose something. You lose a little bit of CS, you lose a little bit of damage or whatever, lose experience. It doesn't seem to be a problem. Serenok tanks a tower shot and still tells Reppy to sit down.
Yeah, I mean, that's just Silas's trade pattern, right? He normally trades his health very willingly because he can sustain back up here, and Corki doesn't have any sustain. For that matter, we're talking about lack of combat stats here. You've got a coffee with Warhammer and Longsword. That's kind of it. So as long as Shimmer doesn't show up mid, Serenok's more than happy to play this aggressively, take that first shot if need be. Now in bot lane, that was the one place where North were able to find some sort of answer. We saw the kill from Enthralled and Sword Blue onto Chronos, but Chronos and Hero just managed to keep pushing anyway, so they're very fine for Johnny.
This is finally...
Kill.
Yeah. Well, we thought so, but Bajani did not want to get in front of that ultimate. If you did, it would have been a kill. Aizo escapes death for the third time. Bajani has to be pissed off at this point, right? This is a Fiora that desperately wants to kill, is currently sitting at 0-0-0 through 2 ganks and multiple teammates coming up to help. You are salty that you don't even have an assist, 100%.
When we saw the rosters, Bajani had a different name on the roster. Originally, his account was Can't Win Top. And I guess, it's kind of a complaint that his opponents can't win top, have to keep calling jungler up, because that's what we've been seeing with Shimmer so far this game. There's 2 pink wards in that top push right now. Bajani just wants to 1v1 Aizo here. And granted, not getting the kills is annoying, but if you have Bajani, you're probably still happy, because it's only going to get worse for the Yone here. Fiora scales up immensely as a duelist, and while sure, Yone does scale up as well, really, it's those early couple of levels where Yone can try and bully out that Fiora. If you couldn't take advantage of that, then a lot of it just becomes, okay, who can land that riposte, whose hands are a little bit better here, and so far, Bajani's just been winning that out.
This has been a masterclass of Fisher Boston showing off exactly how to win a game from start to finish. And I mean, it's still just a start, right? It feels like they control everything right now. Dropping the Herald in the mid lane, even Serenok being given this respectable chunk of gold as well. And the Vitals being procced on the top side as a camera says, hey, we just want to watch the action. We just want to watch the fight. The Vital wasn't procced, but it is enough this time around. And they do pick up the kill, but Johnny says, gimme, gimme, gimme. It is all the gold for me.
I mean, I just like to point out, we haven't seen Fisher do this from start to finish just yet. I know it looks like they've got the finish in the bag, but hey, there's still a Corki on the side, and we've seen Yone's turns game. For now, though, the mid at least fully belongs to them. Sword Blue, the MK and Troll just pushing up.
Oh, and Shimmer was the original bearer of bad news. But Enthralled said the support deserves all the death. Enthralled is able to pick up the last hit on Shimmer. And it's just clean kills, right? 2 for 0. Enthralled able to get away with their life. No problem for Fisher Boston. They make it look easy every time.
They make it look easy, but it's closer than it looks overall. If
Yeah.
not for the fact that Serenok had first mythic in the game with that Everfrost right there, Enthralled goes down. So Shimmer is still a menace right now. That Udyr is strong. Who isn't strong is Reppy!
Oh, Reppy. Reppy lives with a sliver. Reppy's had a not so fun time, right? This Corki's been trying their best, and Serenok is just punishing over and over again. So the fact that you get to live and you only lose your tower, you'll take it. Right now, Aizo, though, might get Bajani. I don't think the extra burst yet. It's not going to be enough. Great trade, though. Aizo getting a little bit of a cheeky fight off on the top side.
Yeah, well, with Gore Drinker, though, I mean, second mythic of the game was Gore Drinker and Bajani. Bajani will be able to heal up. A lot of this fight just comes down to, can you riposte that Fate Seal from Yone there? If you can, Grand Challenge wins it.
Well, yeah, this is... Oh, the tower even. The tower is going to finish it, and Bajani says, whew, not even close, everyone. I'm good, I'm good. Heals up thanks to the Grand Challenge. And that means top side is now under control of Bajani. Dragonman Kim, realizing that top is in their control as well as mid, decides to go jungle hunting. Says, hey, I found Shimmer. It's now jungle and support versus jungle and support. And Shimmer has a bit more HP. Flashes over the wall. Dragonman Kim, realizing that they put him into a little bit of a rough spot. Serenok, though, saying, I have the ult. He can't get the second land on the chains. And the jungle fight is going to continue. Start of round number 2. Gets his depth charge off. The smite goes away, Dragonman Kim. And now the arrow from downtown lands onto Reppy. This is going to be enough to turn it around. Serenok said, thank you very much, enthralled for the assist. And they turn it around 2-0.
I'm still watching to see if Reppy gets out here. I mean, Serenok really wants his ISO is deep behind enemy lines here.
And misses the first strike, so isn't able to get that knockup as soon as possible. And because of that, you fall to Serenok. You tried to save Reppy, but Reppy can't save you.
But I called it behind enemy lines. Look where they are. That should be Northwood's jungle. They literally only lost the mid lane turret. That's the only thing they've lost. But yeah, all their jungles now belong to Fisher. you aren't safe there anymore. And Shimmer, the one bright hope, isn't shimmering bright enough. DMK looking for a turret dive.
Oh, this turret dive is not going to pop off, though. Teleport comes in, or at least it's going to be a little bit harder, because honestly, even through the teleport, I'm pretty sure they could have done it. Dragonman Kim, though, is not as healthy as they would like. Serenok, though, completely, no one sees Serenok, and finally, Hero says, oh, hey, there's a problem here. 1v4, Serenok, you've done 1v2s, you've done 1v1s, you've done 1v3s. I don't know if you're going to be able to pull this one off. In goes a little bit of an arrow. And Serenok still gets it. Serenok is still alive. Serenok got 2 in a 1v4. You make it a 1v3 or 1 for 3. Arrow lands. Kronos is locked down. Time has frozen for you. It's a 1 for 4 off of Serenok's absolute manhandling.
I mean, it's not a first item mid-eyes here, Orbital, but second item mid-eyes. That Death Note doing work in that fight there. Serenok almost survived. It was barely that they managed to take him down. And you know what? I'm going to call it worth for Northwood. Yeah, you lost multiple members, but you took off the bounty. You took off those pages. And for Northwood, that's step 1. I don't know if there's a step 2, but at least you took step 1.
I don't know if there's a step 1. It's just question marks on step 1 and 2. And step 3 is profit. They are absolutely running this show right now. Currently, 2 unkillables in Bajani and DMK. Bajani might be on the chopping block, though. Izo trying to set up, but didn't bait long enough for Kronos to come by. And even with Kronos, I don't think they're really going to do anything, right? It is on hit. There's no real poke on the back line. But Bajani, okay, that's rude. That's rude, Bajani. That's just mean to do.
I mean, that's just Fiora things, right? And
yeah.
Izo opting in for another fight here. I am worried, yeah. But Bajani just waits. Like, you go over the wall at him, I can just hop over too. And interrupted Izo.
And body blocks. And now Serenok wants to go over the wall, but Bajani ran out of mana, so it's like, okay, I can't follow. I've done enough. And all the thumbs up. I mean, these two in the oh no. Izo wants to so bad. Are you gonna? You missed the W! Oh, that feels bad. And because of that, Kronos is now locked in the jungle. In goes the Everfrost. In goes the damage. Hook goes wide. But guess what? The arrow says toodaloo. I'm only here for show. You caught everyone that you want. It's a double kill, triple. Make it a quadra. Come on, Serenok. You know you want to do it. You got your support killed. You might as well finish the job. Bot side Bajani fighting out Shimmer. Shimmer turning into a blaze of glory with a final slap of the rapier.
The last shimmer of hope there, Orbital, going down for Northwood. Bajani TP'd down to stop the push from Shimmer. And I mean, Shimmer did a great job in the early game. He was all that was holding Northwood together. Unfortunately, with Shimmer finally going down here, I got
The baits from Fisher Boston are great. Oh, well, you flash out of the minions. I don't think that's exactly what you wanted to do, but it works. Right now, Fisher Boston getting ready to close the doors on what is going to be game number 1. Serenok still dancing with the devil, but I mean, it's 23-4, right? Over a kill a minute, easily done. Already about 11k in the lead. I mean, there's nothing that they really have to worry about right now.
Yeah, and if you're Northwood, here's the problem, Orbital. Generally, when you lose a game, you try and see what went wrong. Everything went wrong. Every single lane struggled. And unfortunately, Shimmer, which was one bright hope, just wasn't enough to do things. And now you're seeing, Shimmer, despite how much he's trying to... look at that. Can't even blast going away. Sword Blue's just sitting on him. They're calling everybody down. Maybe they can make this work. TPs from both sides.
Yeah, it's a 2v5, and I mean, it's Sword Blue, right? But look who's here! Look at the rest of the cavalry! They come in! Fate sealed from Serenok, stolen away. Arrow able to snipe away 1 kill, and they're going to follow up. Hero is now going to fall. Izo, you're going right back to death, my friend. You are not going to be able to survive.
No.
Sword Blue with the BM hook throws it against the wall just for good measure. And it's a 4-for-0. You thought it was a 2v5? No, it's Fisher Boston with a run into Baron.
Yeah, and that is the probably second squishiest member of Fisher that you managed to catch out there. Sword Blue is very underfed compared to the rest of this team here. The only better pick you could have found was Enthralled, and Enthralled has done a great job this game of positioning appropriate to his position. He's not the big carry. He doesn't have to step up to do the damage. He's utility. He knows that. He steps back. And now Fisher pushing with Herald on that bot side with Bajani as well. They're going for Baron and Orbital. This is a team that knows how to close out games.
They easily do. I mean, you already saw it, right? 1-1 in terms of Serenok and Bajani pushing the mid bot. Get the waves. Integrate state. Go ahead, collect this Baron pretty much off timer. I think they started it about 20 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. I mean, they're fine. They're perfectly good. And now the question is how do they want to do this, right? All options are open to them. They have the top lane. They can go there. They can go mid, bot side. Inhibitor tower is about 2 hits from death. Where would you like to see them go, right? It's like a 5-course dinner, right? You're on to dessert. How do you want to finish off your entire meal?
I think you just go for a 1-3-1 here. Nobody can answer Bajani or Serenok in the side lanes. We've seen that repeatedly now. Serenok can survive 1v3, and Bajani can quite comfortably survive 1v2. Okay. So they don't have to do either of that. It looks like Northwood has recognized that, hey, you know what? This game's kind of over. 27-4 here. 20-minute Baron. Let's just go Nyx. Save mental.
And you know what? As much as some people might say, hey, play it out, you're doing all this, there is that part. Save your mental. You know it's lost. You know where you probably messed up on. And there are some parts where you can't even say, like, we messed up. It was just Fisher Boston playing a little bit better in all aspects, right? There is forced and unforced errors, and I would say a lot of what Fisher Boston put down, they are forcing those errors out of you.
Yeah, and we didn't get to see the draft order here, but I will tell you both solo lanes were counter picks from Northwood. So Izo saw the Fiora take the Yone, they saw the Silas there, and then Repi picked the Corki, and both those lanes were kind of issues for the team. When I think of Izo, like I said, I think tanks, Maokai, Ornn, Sion, maybe an Aatrox if you're looking to try and carry that lane set. In the mid lane, Repi likes to play assassins, things like Katarina, Akali, Silas here, Ari. If anything, maybe he can pick up the Yone for himself. So I think for Northwood, they still have options. We didn't get to see their favorite playstyle. I think they tried to play around Fisher a little bit too much. But hey, now when your playoff lives are on the line here, maybe you go back a little bit towards comfort, towards what got you some of your wins earlier on in the season.
Maybe back to comfort is the right call. Right now, though, Fisher Boston are playing as comfortable as can be. A 21-minute victory, being able to proudly puff out their chest and say, we have won this one. We are looking for the 2-0. Northwood, let's see what they can do. We'll be right back with game number 2 here on the NECC mainstream. Don't go anywhere.
Dreaming in colors I never dreamed. Oh yeah. I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell in love with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed. Skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh. let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Fell in love with my broken pieces, took them all and made yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed. Skipping out, no, I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Ooh, you take me higher. You take me higher, baby. You take me higher. You take me higher, baby. You take me higher. You take me higher, baby. You take me higher. Yeah, you take me higher, baby. Left a star glowing in your eyes when I'm not aware. You left a scar. I fall into your lies all again. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Let me feel it again. Let me feel it. Just keep me inside.
When I'm with you, I am able to keep pushing my limits, and all the drive that I have, well, I'm going the distance with you. I didn't know what I had till I knew what was missing, and everything that I dread, well, I built a resistance with you. Catch me when I fall, and I'll keep you off the ground. You were gone, I wish you'd stay. I could look at you for days. Time was well spent, that's when I knew that I need to spend my life here with you. Take your time, not in the fast lane. I understand that you've been broken too many times, but I'll be waiting to mend your wounds from all you've taken. But if we listen to each other and admit our mistakes, then I can show you who I am, because I'm not the same. I'm better with you. I'm better with you. I'm better with you. Catch me when I fall. You know I'll keep you off the ground. That's when I knew that I need to spend my life here with you.
The seasons come and go like thoughts of you. Like a wave returns to the sea, into the blue. They change, but in a cycle that I can't lose. Each painful but delightful to live through. You came into my life just like another season. Not for long, just a time, just like another season. Maybe this time next year you'll reappear for no reason, but I'll cherish every day until you come my way this season.
And we are back, ready to go for game number 2. Game number 1, save mental was the call at the very end as Northwood went ahead and FF'd that game, which is understandable. Fisher, Boston, let's be honest, from the get-go, felt so in control. And there's a point where you have to say, back to the drawing board. Taking a look at game number 2, Northwood have opted to stay on the red side. So saying, hey, you know what, on blue side, red side, it wouldn't really matter. Let's at least get a counter pick. I mean, all eyes are open here for the draft.
Yeah, I mean, the first pick last game was the Graves here orbital. I really don't think blue side, the first pick is worth it for Northwood. I think having counters is more important for them. So I don't hate the fact that they opted for that side. What I need to see from them, though, is either extreme comfort, like signature champions coming through from multiple players, or early game. You need to survive the early game because a lot of it, first Dragon kind of spelled the end of Northwood, which was incredibly quick. And we know that Fisher as a team, they're just so good at closing out games. You give them a 2K lead at 14 minutes and they'll just end it on you.
And that is scary to think about. One of the big points that we had talked about in the draft at the start, as we get to see the bans, which, again, we did see one of those. It was the Fiora, which I think is very appropriate, but now we get the real hands check. Bajane bringing out the Aatrox, and I mean, Izo, we talked about it, right? More of a tank player, moving towards that tank once again. Shimmer opting into the Hecarim, which, again, later on you'll see why there is a little bit of a ban difference that came out there. But this is more the top lane that I think we expected to see in game number 1.
Yeah, I did not expect Izo to play Yone. And the fact that Bajani actually picks this Aatrox here, Yone was open. And we saw at Worlds that Zeus, T1 Zeus at least, made Yone look like the counter to Aatrox. Yeah, Bajani saying, I don't think your Aatrox is a counter. I'm okay to pick the Aatrox blind right here. And besides the Yone, Izo's champion pool is largely, melee champions, which struggle into the Aatrox. So I think Bajani very confident on that now. DMK once again getting that Graves here. Wasn't first pick this time, it was actually last pick from the side of Fisher, but I think it's a really strong answer into this Hecarim here.
Yeah, and taking a look at the mid lane, another one that we wanted to talk about is the fact that Repi is getting a champion that feels a little bit more comfortable. Game number 1, unfortunate early game, and we say unfortunate because it was unfortunate. Dying about level 1, level 2 to a Sylas, it feels bad. So grabbing the Sylas for themselves is going to be important. This is more of a standard mid lane that we see just about anywhere. The bans coming through here, this is why we were saying we aren't seeing the Udyr. This is a second round bans and was banned out early on. The same stock bans, though, for Northwood targeting that mid lane, which is why the Azir came out. Pretty all around standard. This is Fisher Boston kind of saying, we know the groundwork, we know what we have to do. Let's go ahead and lock it in and be good with it.
Yeah, and Fisher, again, very standard meta composition, right? Aatrox, Graves, Azir, champions that we've seen throughout Worlds here. The bot lane starting to come through here, and Lucian being picked up for the side of Northwood. They're looking for early game aggression. Now, last game we had Enthralled on the Ashe, the sort of utility pick here. And I'm glad we got to see that from Enthralled, but I want to see, when you're an AD carry, that you can carry. So Enthralled now on the Caitlyn this time here. That is a champion that can indeed carry a game, but not as a team fight monster, more as a laning phase monster. And into the likes of a Lucian here, well, overall, if Northwood want to win this bot lane, I better be seeing sparks fly.
And that's going to be made even harder with the Karma. Remember, it was banned out in game number 1 by the side of Fisher Boston. They were the ones to say, hey, we don't want to let the Karma through. But because they got the Caitlyn, because they get this aggressive, overbearing pressure, it's going to be great to lock in the Karma behind it because the Lucian Nami came out on the back end. So bot lane now shaping up to be another monster of a lane. We said in game number 1, we want to see how Kronos was able to deal with this bot lane alongside Hero. And it was not great, right? Like you did the best that you could. This situation is even more against them, it feels like, right? Lucian Nami, even after the patch, still had some relevance, but definitely not the power that it had before. And against the Caitlyn Karma, I mean, there's too much stacked against them, it feels.
Yeah, I am very worried when I see this draft as well, Orbital, because when I look here at what Northwood is bringing to the table, in isolation, it feels like they've got losing matchups in every single position in isolation. Aatrox, wins those melee matchups here. Graves, like we said, is a great answer into Hecarim. You can invade Hecarim, and Hecarim can't really fight you till that level 6. A lot of times you'll see Hecarim's power farm till that level 4. Use that level D to try and pressure the enemy jungler. Well, Graves can match you in terms of speed. And even a level down at level 3 versus level 4, Graves' early upfront damage allows you to actually trade into a Hecarim who's a level up from you. Mid lane, Azir, Sylas. Sure, we've seen Sylas, win that matchup later, but in lane, Azir's range advantage is oppressive onto that Sylas. You don't get to trade with Azir well. And the bot lane, Caitlyn Karma is possibly the most oppressive bot lane in the entire game. Yes, we usually see Caitlyn Lux paired together. I think that's a bigger kill lane, but I think Karma is one of the most oppressive supports, bar none, regardless who she's paired with. So suddenly, the Lucian Nami are pressured to be constantly trading. If you're not trading, if you just get poked up by the Karma, if you lose 1/3 of your health, you can't all in that Caitlyn Karma anymore. they will actually start to win that out there with the burst damage they can put out. So where do we go? If you're Northwood, Orbital, if you've got losing matchups individually, it feels like they've got to start working together as a team faster. And for that, I'm looking at Shimmer. Shimmer needs to get some early ganks off. And more importantly, Shimmer needs to avoid DMK early. You don't want to be picking fights with the enemy jungler. You want to be picking numbers advantage fights in the lanes.
And I will say, that does lead into what we saw in game number 1, right? That is the one shining thing I would be able to say about Shimmer in the early stages. Shimmer was the one actually ganking earlier, right? On that Udyr was actually getting into the lanes. I think top lane received 1 or 2 ganks early on. And then the bot lane even, we did see a little bit of information. So granted, your point stands to an immense extent. Shimmer had the priority. And if you're trying to avoid DMK, what's the best way to do it? Roam into the lanes. Don't be in the jungle too often. Don't get caught with your pants down. Be out in the lanes. So I think this does... It's a heavy bar. It is definitely a heavy bar for Northwood to carry. But at least they have the pieces falling into place, right? They have the very small pieces that they can work with. And if Shimmer is able to show up on this hack room that is well known as a level 6 scaler and can make it an early game punch, hey, that's a great thing to carry forward. And maybe you get that one opportunity to get one more game. Now, taking a look once again, though, I mean, going down the lanes from the side of Fisher Boston, I think the only question that I want to ask there for you, RMC, since you broke down everything already, we know what to expect. Where do we see First Blood this time? Because last time, it was Serenot getting that surprise kill. Cheeky flashback in to get the kill. Where do we see First Blood?
Okay, for the sake of a game 3 here, for the sake of Northwood making playoffs here overall, I'm going to call for First Blood in the top lane. I want to see Izo's Ornn pop off. You know, Ornn does a disgusting amount of damage early, and you actually can win trades against Aatrox in the early game. So, I want to see First Blood, Izo killing Bajani. And on top of that, Izo is running Ignite in the top lane, probably going to pick up the Unsealed Spellbook as well to cycle spells. But he's got a combat summoner. He's ready to go here. So for Northwood, if they can find the kills early, if they can get a lead, if they can get to the late game, I think they've got a much better shot. And I think for them, I'm looking at top lane for a start.
Oh, man. Sin Izo's gonna get a kill. And a solo kill at that. Didn't even mention Shimmer.
I'm hoping he does. I'm hoping he does.
No. You said it's going to happen. Everyone, you heard it here first. RMC has predicted a kill on the top side. That is on paper. That's totally what he said. He didn't say anything else. You heard it here first. So, Northwood getting a kill on that top side. And, hey, you know what? Maybe they are able to outskill. That is something that they are going to hope to do. Of course, outscaling doesn't really favor the Lucian Navi as much, so kind of that unfortunate seesaw back and forth that we'll get to see. But we are into game number 2. Keep in mind, these are the stakes. Fisher Boston, if they win this game, they're ready to lock in. What they're looking at is first place in their division. Here in the Legends, of all times, Legends is the highest rankings league that we have here in the NECC, so being able to pick that one up would feel real good heading into playoffs. Northwood need one game to qualify. If they do not, they are out of the playoffs and their season ends here. Not a thing that they want to have happen, but of course they're up against these beasts. So what do we get? We get the battle lines drawn, and no major chase in. Hero though saying, hey, Sword Blue, I do see you. Reppy, of course, also getting a bit of information, and Hero Kronos saying, I don't want anything to do with that lane.
To be fair, they also saw the last time what Fisher did, and Fisher just didn't care. Ooh, they might care this time, though. Bajani.
Yeah, Bajani realizes that it was a 1v2. And the rest... I love that. Hey, you got your team. Watch me. Clap, clap. 3 come rushing out of the jungle brushes. That is some teamwork right there.
I'm getting flashbacks to game 1 already here overall, because Bajani in a 1v3 situation actually trades back as much health. Look at Shimmer's health. Shimmer took as much damage as Bajani did in a 1v3 situation. And Shimmer's not basing either. Okay, so Izo's going to have to give a pretty big leash on this one here to help Shimmer keep up. And you know what? I respect that. We mentioned before, Hecarim power farms really, really quickly. Shimmer's recognized that and says that, hey, I need to stay ahead of DMK. I cannot afford to lose.
I'm sorry. All I saw was Reppy. We're talking about the jungle. All I see is Reppy going in like, I want to do what you did. Oh, wait, there are minions there. I'm sorry. Tried to go in for an early trade. And again, as we said against the Azir, it's a little bit difficult. But, oh, what is this?
I was worried for a second Shimmer was going to die to minions. What we're seeing in the bot lane is what we expect to see from Karma Caitlyn here, Orbital, which is just abuse, pretty much. Karma, there's a famous saying about Karma being a bit of a female dog, and we're seeing that happen right in the bot lane right here. She's just bullying out the Nami and Lucian. Heroes burning mana right now as much as possible to keep their health up. It's working, but you're trading a lot of mana here, and you can see Kronos just keeps having to get zoned out, keeps having to step back, cannot afford to eat.
Is that 3 pots plus biscuits that we're gonna see here? Or no. I don't think biscuits went in, right? Because biscuits would have spawned already. I was thinking they were going full regen on the bot side, you know, full consumables there, and that's true. That's sacrificing a lot of power in the rune system for Kronos, but it does look like just the 3 pots. Already picked one up, and Hero, of course, burning through one as well. As you said, it's a pain to deal with, but Shimmer is now able to actually complete their jungle pathing. Opted for a full clear. That is very important to note. Full clear all the way through, and just in time, because you can see a massive wave crashing in the bot side.
Is it really in time? No, because look at DMK. He's skipping Krugs here, and we mentioned before that, hey, the level 3 Graves is willing to trade into that Heck Rim.
Oh!
He steals it!
Oh, DMK. And remember, Shimmer has no flash. First blood to Dragon Minkin.
And DMK, early aggressive jungler. We said it before, and he knows exactly what he's doing. But Johnny winning out the trades topside as well here. Overall, everything is falling to shambles for Northwood. Your junglers did, their top lane's losing, and I don't know where to look if I'm them.
You look away, right? You turn away from the screen. You're just like, I don't want to look, guys. I don't want to look. Kronos using the rest of their mana just try and get some damage down. You can't do anything, right? This is Fisher Boston going ahead and showing off once again. Shimmer on the top side saying, hey, I might be able to get something, but I mean, you're only picking up scraps at this point. So for Fisher Boston, it's really just how hard do you want to make these doors to open, right? For you, you are closing doors left and right every time. Every time Northwood steps up, they don't get a chance, right? Reppy now dancing in the mid, though, as they try and force a way through. Shimmer, though, gonna dance right in the middle, and Reppy can't follow up in time. Serenok getting taken quite low, flashes over the wall. Dragon and Kim getting their way out as well. And they might have found an opportunity. Reppy with a nice chunk of HP back. Serenok without much of their own.
I'd say it's nice, but Reppy blew his flash as well here. Izo, is this going to be a kill?
I think they might be able to, or might not. We do have a little bit of a spectator bug. We do apologize, as Bajani, with this world-ending champion, has somehow managed to world-end this game. No, we're good. We're good. All right. Cat is up with the emote. Izo is okay, thanks to the Bellows Breath. Very nice take.
I thought for a second it was the preseason patch, Orbital.
Oh,
Riot has
jeez.
now installed a new feature. It's working as intended. They now censor features which are too brutal to watch. I thought Izo was going to die. Thankfully, he didn't. So, yes, no, it was
that would have worked all game one then. What?
True. They patched in between games. And Thrall holding the 1v2 here, actually, pretty well for now. Chrono's going to get the poke off, but Sword Blue is about to come back to life.
Yeah, Sword Blue is just like, I got this, guys. Don't worry. No mana either on Hero and Kronos, so it's like they can't really trade back. And the fact that Kronos even went with the minion dematerializer, I'm not sure if that was a mistake or not, but saying that I need that even to help clear the minions even faster, I can understand it, but it feels unorthodox.
Yeah, I think there's actually quite a lot of advantages to taking minion demat into the bot lane as the AD carry. For team plays in terms of just, being able to push that wave, especially into something like Karma Caitlyn. Now, whether or not Kronos can actually utilize it is going to be the big question here, right? And it's a team sort of item here, so you're not just taking it for your lane to be able to move out. You need your jungler's help to actually set up these sort of plays here. Every time we go up there, we just see the Infernal Chains come down and Izo having to unbreakable his way out of there. And also, every time we go up there, his health bar is getting lower and lower here. I am terrified for Izo.
Well, but Johnny is going to flash, make it look spicy. Okay. You're going to die. But last time it took 3 chances. It took Bajani 3 times to be able to get it. And Reppy, it's not a 1v1, it's a 3v1. And Reppy, unfortunately, falls to the likes of Serenok.
Poor Reppy. He just wants to, do what he saw in game 1. Serenok, though, Serenok played the Silas. He knows what it's like. He's saying that, yeah, maybe I can't beat you 1v1, but that's why I've got a team. League is a 5-player game, and now Shimmer might be caught out again. Look at this collapse from all sides.
I mean, it already died once, right? No level 6, no way to really get out. Thankfully, though, death timers are very, very short. What are they going to get, though? Shimmer, you can't chase backwards. You can't do too much here. Tried to clear the wave as quickly as possible, but not going to happen. And because of that, you do get the ultimate stolen away. Reppy going to force Serenok into the wave and the tower, but you're okay. In comes Izo with the snipe. Up goes Sword Blue, and down comes the kill. Reppy able to pick that one up. I'm going to look for one more. Dragonman Kim, though, says not today. It is going to be a 2-for-1 as Izo is able to section off DMK. And you know what? Northwood will take that. Before, it was almost all kills and no fun for them. So this time around, they're actually able to trade back a few.
Now, there is a price to that roam out here from Izo, and that is Bajani just shoving a massive wave into the turret, taking a plate as well. Meanwhile, yeah, you killed Serenok, but this is not the Silas game. He doesn't have Dark Seal. He doesn't have that bounty for you to take, and Reppy had to immediately go back to base as well. So Reppy, you know, not really maximizing that shove on the mid lane. It ain't great for Fisher, but it ain't great for Northwood either.
And at that point, you're just like, is there anything we can say that's decent? Oh my gosh. DMK, what are we gonna do here? Oh, okay, now it's just the styling.
Oh, Shimmer.
That's by far the rudest sidestep I think I've seen in a while. That was ankle breaking is all I can say.
That was clean. Yeah,
I don't know. Like, DMK is living in the enemy jungle. I don't know what you want me to say here.
Hey man, it's not the enemy jungle. We said this before. This game, the turret doesn't even need to fall. That is not behind enemy lines anymore. Those are your jungles. And unfortunately, I was just watching Izo actually get bullied out under turret as well. Izo's just like, please let me recall. Please let me recall. Guys, like, I'm shutting off this wave. Shimmer, you're on your own. Like, thank you for buying me time. I'm back to base. And Shimmer just TPs right back in. Full health once again for Izo, but it's kind of rough on the top side of the map, and I think if you're the jungler, you kind of need to abandon it. Go to that bot side. Go to where, you know, Kronos has managed to find himself a bit of a lead from all that Sword Blue roaming. And hey, Caitlyn is a champion who can be punished for pushing, can be dove. She is kind of squishy.
I mean, we say kind of squishy. We don't mean fully squishy. That's the difference. Oh man, I mean, at this point, I feel like it's pseudo squishy is the best way to put it, right? And Thrall is looking like a grand old time down here. Level 7 has a decent.
Okay, look, everything's relative, man. Like, I'm looking at this team. You want to go for Bajani? You want to go for TMK? Like, who's squishier than Thrall right now?
Yeah, I mean, you're right, but again, it's the karma there, right? It's the karma still there. Oh my gosh! At this point, as you said, everything is relative. What is it? Nothing is real. Everything is accepted. Is that the Assassin's Creed? I don't know. I'm just this game. This is Fisher Boston having a ball at a time. Izo once again taking quite low. Has no flash, has nothing. But Johnny's just like, yeah, dance it out, Izo, because that's all you're gonna be able to do here.
I don't know why when he started dancing, I just had the coffin dance playing in my head.
Yes,
yes. Maybe he can find the kill here. The ignite goes down. It's sticking.
I mean, the ignite goes down, but the tower isn't going to hit in time, and because of that, the coffin dance only is carried by one, as Bajani sends Izo to the grave once again.
I really wish we could just play the coffin dance right now, like on stream. It's so fitting. Reppy, oh my goodness, he's getting poked here. Thankfully, Hero is going to roam into the mid lane just to cover. Hero's not actually there to, you know, bail Reppy out, just to make sure Sword Blue doesn't show up, throw a Mantra Q, and get a kill. Instead, Fisher taking advantage of that pressure mid, taking advantage of pressure bot. They get themselves first dragon of the game.
It's a very calm pickup as well. Last time, I think we saw a spicy fight beforehand, right? It was, I think it was 3 kills that we saw earlier in game number 1, and that led to the dragon being taken. This time, Northwood just don't have the time to really even try and check it, right? You can see Kronos trying to catch back up or extend that CS lead and extend that gold lead, which they do have, I will say. Kronos and Hero have done a good job of mitigating a lot of the aggression on the bot side. It's still not enough to give them pressure over the dragon. So, you know, dragon taken, very happy. And now we get to go back to our favorite television series of what will Bajani do next?
Can we just not look tough anymore? Or I'm getting depression watching it right now. It is. unplayable for Ornn at this point, unfortunately. You win in the early game. Ooh, Serenok not quite able to complete the shuffle there. Reppy gets to live another day. Yeah, top side right now, there's nothing he can do, right? Like, Ornn wins out early and then doesn't. Once Aatrox gets your first item, he starts to win that out. So without some sort of help, it ain't happening. Ooh, good shuffle from Reppy.
Yeah, and if that Rift Herald wasn't there, I think DMK would have actually been dead. Still dead nonetheless. Serenok now gonna try and get some punchback. Reppy able to get out of dodge. Shimmer trying to fight even harder here. Might be able to survive, but Serenok able to outplay in the 2v2, leading to a 1-for-1. Kronos is gonna get rooted, but going back in with a very nice bubble. Sword Blue wants to try and survive here. Arrow has been trying their hardest to try and break open this bot lane. In the end, the bot lane is the only ones that still have not really had a big impactful kill.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you know what? I said that. I hate. I'm gonna stop talking now. I'm gonna stop talking. I'll see y'all later.
I don't know why you doubt the bot lane. I have been impressed with Enthralled. We saw the support play, the utility play last game. Sure, Enthralled didn't get the assist on that one. Sword Blue, you know, popping off a lot here, but I want to give props to Enthralled because Enthralled actually kept Sword Blue alive by threatening the kills onto Kronos, not letting Kronos actually get any autos off onto the Karma. And then after that, well, it's all Sword Blue. Top side, first start of the game finally drops here, and Bajani now in a 1v2 has the world ender ready to go.
Oh, we know what Bajani likes to do. This is gonna be interesting. Oh, okay, Shimmer this time. I hate the fact that even though Izo's full HP and Shimmer is half, and Bajani is, you know, fairly low, that I still assume Bajani is going to pull something off, right? Like, I hate that fact so much. DMK, though, now getting caught on the wrong side of the map in a 2v3, and Sword Blue is the only one here really able to help. Shimmer's going to look for it, but a shotgun to the face puts the horse down, and Izo is going to clap back. In goes the shuffle, though, getting a good hit. Hero tries to come in with the flash, is able to get the heal off, and it is able to save Reppy for just a mite longer. Gets the Kingslayer off again, and Serenok is now going to get kited. Serenok slaps 2 more soldiers straight through that prisoner. And now it's a shutdown back and forth. And Throw gets the 1v1 on the bot side as the entire rift explodes with blood and gore. And no one comes out the better.
Say what you want about Serenok here. He gets the kills. He's also not a very good utility player. We saw Enthralled save Sword Blue on that bot side here. I want a replay because Serenok actually swept them towards Sword Blue. And that's the moment as a sport where we go, team Serenok, what are you doing, buddy? Save me, not kill me. And now Bajani into the jungle. Shimmer. Oh, where are you going to run?
I don't think there is anywhere. You are able to get, but you don't get the fear. Oh, that's unfortunate. Shimmer is going to get run down here. One more slap. Dodges on it, and now a flash forward. Bajani's like, not today. No, not today. Now comes the revenge, though. Round 2 is always where it gets interesting. Bajani dodges out on the bubble, is able to throw down a little bit at a time. Doesn't get knocked up, is going to knock up 2 instead. Kronos on the other side is going to look it down, and this time you do fall once again. It is twice in a row, and you are going to die. But guess what? You're on a ward. The rest of the team is hoping. DMK looking for a bit more. Shotgun is going to work. Serenok over the side. Everyone might be caught out here. That's going to be the Coling knocking down on Death's door. But Serenok sends a couple more soldiers, and it's a fight back to back. 2 for 2 so far in this mid lane battle.
Yeah, I know there's nothing Serenok could have done to save DMK, but for the sake of the narrative, I just want to highlight he died again and Serenok got a kill. So, you know.
Save the narrative! Save the narrative! That's our call right now. Shimmer still breaking out the fight. They just don't care. They don't care about the laning. They don't care about anything of the sort. Enthralled is going to be able to survive for a little bit longer. Do you live? You live! Enthralled survives the 1v2. Oh, the Caitlyn ain't so squishy, huh?
Okay, not only we saved the narrative, we saved Caitlyn as well. Enthralled. Hey man, that's the squishiest person, especially since Sword Blue wasn't there. They still couldn't find the kill. The rotate is just too fast from the side of Fisher right now. And if you're Northwood, hey, we saved the narrative, we saved the Caitlyn, but I'm sorry, I don't think we can save Northwood.
Northwood turning into Southwood here, being turned on their heads and wondering where the heck all the trees went. But Johnny saying, hey, I found a squishy Kronos. Kronos, you're dancing with fire here. Yes, there's no flash, and yet I still feel Bajani's going to do something here. Right now, though, in terms of the macro, we are seeing a little bit more go down. We are going to see the Rift Herald be taking the second Rift Herald of the game, and the scary thing is, with how much has been broken so far, Fisher Boston could easily break an inhibitor with this Herald if they so wish, right? Like, that is where we're currently at in this game.
Yeah, I almost felt like that should be a Baron, right? Like it feels like we're at that point in the game, but it's not. It's just a Herald here. The internal turrets, the inner turrets are all kind of low on health for the side of Northwood here. So yeah, you can easily get 2 turrets with that Herald here. Kronos, like you said, playing with fire, but hey, to give props to Kronos, like his positioning's been pretty good for the most part. He's baiting Bajani, but he's not in real threat of dying from the Aatrox. Karma, on the other hand, well, we've seen Sword Blue find a couple of kills onto this bot lane already.
We've seen some interesting things overall. Right now, we are getting the Ocean Drag coming up and playing a massive field. And oh man, it's a scary sign. But right now, Sword Blue dancing out of harm's way is able to pull that flash. And Reppy is still relatively dangerous, right? 3, 3, and 5 has the Everfrost completed. So, you know, of all people, you know, Sword Blue is one that you can also catch. And guess what? You do walk in range. No flash this time. Coling gonna find the kill. Shield is gonna do just enough to buy time for Izo to steal away that kill. Kronos, with the last of their mana, only picks up an assist.
And despite the kill here, Orbital, Northwood cannot push on. Look at the side lanes here. Serenok and Bajani are just pressuring so incredibly hard. And for Bajani versus Shimmer, there's a 3-level advantage there for Bajani. Shimmer, my man, I don't think this is a fight you want to pick.
I don't think Shimmer even tried to pick it. I think Shimmer just was like, I gotta hold the lane somehow. Right now, though, topside Serenok is looking like they want to redeem themselves and say, listen, I heard RMC talking a little bit of smack. I'm going to show that I can play utility. I'm going to show that I can do something here, especially with the Crown and the Shattered Queen, making sure that the initial set of damage from Reppy and Izo is not going to be enough. And we go back to Bajani, which my depression is even furthering, even more so, is now going to get jumped on 2. Has died twice in a row to these fights, but this time around gets a little bit of help from the team. Is able to lifesteal up so much, gets a final slap. Shimmer is very, very low, and now the rest of the team comes in. You are going to get cut down, shut down, over to Izo.
But the amount of resources overall that North would have to spend, they do lose the inner turret, both bot and mid here from Bajani's pushing. Great that they do manage to get the kill though, and we're seeing Northwood, you know, start to group up a little bit, and we're seeing them find picks when they're grouped up. The kill lead's actually not that far apart here. It's just structure-wise, so and objective-wise. So you're really seeing that Northwood's win con at this point, or survival condition, is to group up and start to find things. And you know, there is still hope in that the more turrets go down, the more space there is for Northwood to actually find picks here. Now, I'd just love to see them actually be able to kind of continue on these picks, and this might be it.
This is a very good way to do it. Unfortunately, Serenok was able to easily get out of that fight. No window shopping for the Emperor. And even flashes the emote, says, yeah, it was a good try. And honestly, it was. It was a good catch. Reppy was able to find it, but just, again, a little bit too much damage in that pocket there. So well done again to Fisher Boston, saying, hey, we are back in control. I would like to see Bajani maybe not try and tower farm there. We'll see, though, if they fall once again without getting a single kill. Northwood just plying their time, hoping to clear out these wards, get a bit of vision for themselves, as all of their towers have pretty much fallen enthralled in the rest of the team, though, setting up with this Rift Herald on the top lane.
Yeah, they're setting up for Baron as well here. Iso takes so much damage, he might just die.
Yeah, that's going to be a knockup. Actually charges in, realizes that the life is forfeit, and they're able to turn it around, get one kill.
Johnny?
Nice little bubble. That's a great catch on the back end. Izo is now going to fall, but Johnny in the back line, though, says all of your base belong to us. I am the Zerg captain. Let me cut off your retreat. Reppy is the last one alive. Has so far had help from the team, but this time no help in sight. It is an ace for 1, capped off by Bajani, and Fisher Boston take the Herald forward and break the first inhibitor.
Yeah, forget just one structure here. They're going to take 2 turrets, potentially a Nexus turret to boot as well. 5 seconds on Kronos, 5 for Shimmer. Is this game over? Surely not.
I think this is game. You almost had enough time, but the shotguns are working so well. Rest of the team now coming up, and you know what? Maybe you're right, but I also think that they can just kill him outright right now. But instead, they do take the safe play. They say we took enough. Izo did teleport to the back end, so guess what? You get a beautiful knockup, another punch. In goes the pillar. And Bajani gets a shield on the back end. Oh, Sword Blue, you shielded someone else, but you don't shield yourself. The Ignite goes down from Izo, and you survive still. Oh, Aatrox, what a freaking champion. I hate that so much. And the shove. Shimmer is shoved straight in the face of the World Ender himself. Another teleport coming out here as the fight is going to continue. Reppy says, I want my rep. Give me my reputation as much as possible. Izo still dancing in front is going to sacrifice their life to try and make it work, but in goes Bajani. Bajani says, Reppy, you went too far. And with that time, Reppy is going to fall. World Ender has claimed another soul, and it's a double kill to Enthralled to make it a delayed ace.
And they live up to their name, Orbital. Fisher College Boston lands Northwood University hook, line, and sinker on the overextension. That's going to be Baron, and if they couldn't close it before Orbital, they certainly can now.
The fact that chase went all the way from Nexus to River and then still ended with Fisher Boston getting the win is outright ridiculous. Shimmer, you're going to be spending more time in the gray screen than on the Rift. You got to stop, buddy. You don't own anything on this top side of the map.
I respect that from Shimmer. You know Baron's going down. He was just going for that last-minute hero steal. You get it, the game goes on. You lose it, what difference does it make? Death or not here. The reset from Fisher starting to come through, and potentially the final push as we see Bajani TP back into that bot lane here. Actually, they desync their recalls. DMK is now back at base, so maybe Northwood can find a catch here?
I mean, they've done it before, but Johnny has honestly been the one that they do want to chase all the time. And they realize World Ender is not up, but do they really have enough cut? They bring all members here just to try and brutalize one player. And yeah, they're just going to try and push in. Take a look at the mini-map. They get the shutdown, but can they get back in time? Enthralled and Sword Blue are going to chase in. Flash and Shield to speed them up, and no chance. No chance whatsoever. Enthralled is going to get the last few auto attacks off. In goes an extra shield. You go into tower range. You go into the fountain, but it doesn't matter. One final auto attack takes it home, and in 23.5 minutes, Fisher College Boston take the 2-0.
Literally all calculated, Orbital. Sword Blue grind to fountain took into account that last auto from Enthralled here, and huge props to Fisher College Boston, showing why this roster made it to second place in CLO Nationals. Yeah, Enthralled looking pretty good here, Orbital, and unfortunately for Northwood, they got 0-2'd, which means they will not be making it into playoffs.
Yep. It's a little bit of a heartbreaker, but again, for a team that is more looking to try and solidify their team, I feel they got a decent bit of information there, right? We did see some glimmers. Shimmer having a somewhat nice early game in game number 1 was able to make some ganks happen. We saw Kronos and Hero on the bot side have a relatively good time against the aggression of the Caitlyn and the Karma, right? Being able to go 0-0-0, keeping up in farm. Very impressive there. And Reppy, I will say from game 1 to game 2, massive difference we saw there. So overall, you know, some good, a little bit of bad, and just unfortunate all the way around that this is the one that they go out on. I mean, taking a look though, let's hard stick with Fisher Boston here for just a second, because I want to ask so many star players here. Is there one that you are interested to watch specifically, and why is it Enthralled? Because Enthralled, I think, stepped up to your expectations here, right?
I mean, for me, Enthralled is a player I was watching a lot this series just because I know the least about him. And I like what I'm seeing here. We still haven't seen the big team fight carries, but, you know, at least his laning looks really, really solid, utility or otherwise here. The one who's actually, I think, surprised me the most was Sword Blue, because I have seen Sword Blue before on BSC, and he was somewhat overshadowed by his AD carry at the time, Sophist Sage. This series, though, his Karma was omnipresent on the map. Yeah, sure, Bajani's making all these fancy, pretty plays and drawing, you know, 3-4 people away. But I think the highest KP that game was for Sword Blue on that Karma in game 2. And in game 1 on that Nautilus, I think, had a lot of impact in the team fight. So I feel like, you know, Sword Blue surprised me a little bit with how good he's looking. I think going into playoffs here, Orbital, we already know how dangerous DMK is. We know how dangerous Bajani and Serenok are. Like, these are the big carries usually. But if anything, I think teams need to start watching out for the roams from Sword Blue.
The fact that you now have so many members that are so dangerous all the time means that, as you said, BSC or BCS going to be a massive force to be reckoned with. I'm very, very excited. I think I got that mixed up again. I'm so sorry, but we are
college, mate.
Yeah, I'm gone. My brain is lost right now. It was a good time, though. Fisher College of Boston going to go ahead and move their way on forward, I believe, in first place in their division as well. Hopefully, we're going to see how they do in playoffs. Northwood going to try their ply next season, right before. Of course, that'll be it for us here in the NECC. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Orbital. With me has been RMC. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a good night.
moments turn and change just like your mind. Like the sun gives into the moon, into the night. Time continues marching, it slowly crawls. With each new one starting, I recall. Whoa.